Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dark Avenger Live. This is episode 48, and huge apology, guys. If you were present on the previous live show, we just recorded one a little bit ago, a couple minutes ago. We're now at 9:53. We were actually going for a good 15 minutes. I'm not sure if we're going to keep it up or not. We probably will and call this 48.2 or something. We were talking about Supergirl, and Dean Cain, actually, we were talking about specifically. But what happened was, apparently, my computer decided that it was just going to shut off. So my computer literally shut itself off. We disappeared off the live, and 2-1, that live show is probably still going on because I never ended the show. So that's another reason why I might delete it still. So we're going to start over just a little bit again, just to talk about what we were talking about. I apologize, anybody who watched the intro. I know a few people were really loving the way we started that show. And while I'm actually going to open up my Nook yet again, for those of you who were watching the last time, I'm going to get the link up to the live show again. I figured out my method to getting the live show because it doesn't show up on my Nook right away. But when I go live, if I click the link, it actually works. So I'm doing that now. So I'll be able to hear you guys' comments and be able to talk with you guys in the comments below. Okay, video's up, comments are go. Okay, we're go with the comments. So we were talking about the Supergirl trailer, and Mike didn't see it, so I was explaining to him that a lot of people either loved it or hated it. It had a lot of positive people, a lot of people pumped for it, a lot of people compared it to a Saturday Night Live kind of skit.
Yeah, and then I asked you if Superman...
was in it.
Think that Superman might make a possible...
And then I said his silhouette was in it, and you mentioned, is it Tom Welling? And I said, no, it's not Tom Welling. And then I talked about how Tom Welling didn't want to be identified as Superman, yet he is kind of identified as Superman, or the young Superman, because he did 10 seasons of Smallville. I think anybody can agree.
Along with being in 2 movies that we saw, Two by the Dozen and...
the failed Fog movie, which both of those I looked at him as Clark Kent from Smallville anyway. I don't know. I think the Supergirl movie, now that we've caught up with ourselves, Dean Cain actually had a universal personality. That's where we got cut off at.
And I was going to say, like, his personality of being Superman actually, like, fit his character.
Oh, yeah, it fit the 90s Superman, but also he has a very good acting personality that I feel like, Dean Cain could have been several different people, and it worked.
Right.
So I've seen several movies with Dean Cain in it, and he just had that kind of personality that he fit in all the characters that he played in. Nothing as good as Superman, of course, because I thought his Lois and Clark, The New Avengers Superman run was spectacular. One of my favorite TV shows next to Smallville involving Superman. But I think, as a person who's not exactly a huge DC fanatic right now, as anybody on the internet can tell you guys know how much I love DC right now. But this looks really good. It was a 6-minute trailer. I feel like it showed too much of the first episode. It's like a summary of probably what the whole first episode's going to be. So I feel like if I accidentally fall asleep and miss the first episode, I'm not going to miss out on Brant Fowler's here. Hi, Brant.
I guess.
We were talking about Supergirl because I was fixing the Nook, and then the computer decided to die, so we opened up a new live show. So I recapped it. I'm back here. I cleaned up the spilled coffee on the floor because I spilled coffee fixing stuff. That wasn't on the live show. So now we're talking about Supergirl. I know you had a different opinion about Supergirl, though.
What was your opinion?
No, I know you... No. Say what your opinion is first, because you were talking about how... I was saying it looked amazing. It looks really, really spectacular. And I know you're kind of like that in between. Like, you don't think it's spectacular, but you kind of, you have your, you explain it. Because I like the way you said it on GroupMe.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, it didn't completely blow me away. I didn't think it was absolutely perfect, but I'm not the huge Superman fan either. But I did think it was really good. There was a lot of elements of it that I liked. I just felt like it's definitely a different audience than we're used to with the superhero shows. I think it is trying to balance the demographics, the audience that it's going for. It's definitely got a more female fan-centric kind of vibe to it, but it still appeals to comic fans in general and, just mainstream fans in general, I think, too.
Right.
So
Michael also asked this question, and I didn't I didn't recap it here. He asked if it was going to be connected to Smallville or the movie or what. I think it's going to be its own entity. Personally, I think it's going to exist in its own kind of reality, which I think is perfect. So there are no ties. We don't have to worry about, like, for example, with Shield, it's connected to the Avengers. So while they can push the envelope, there's still a background to, hey, the Avengers happened here. So with Supergirl, it's kind of more open. It could be Superman pre-New 52, New 52. There's no definitive, it's this Superman.
Oh, you just...
What, Brant?
No, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just saying, you also said that you liked Jimmy Olsen's character.
I didn't think I liked Jimmy Olsen. I like that he knows Clark's secret, and he's kind of his messenger with
Kara. Agent, basically. Yeah, and I really think that that's also like another interesting point to watching Supergirl.
Now, Brent, what were you saying?
As far as whether it's connected to anything else, the producers behind it, the executive producers, are also the executive producers of Arrow and The Flash. Okay. And so there's and CBS and CW are sister networks, so there's a possibility. They did confirm that they exist in the same universe, but we don't know if there's actually going to be any kind of crossover or anything like that. I think for the most part it is going to be its own entity, but there is that possibility that there could be a crossover down the line between those three shows, which is cool, you know.
Okay.
You don't have to. I'm saying you don't have to watch like Arrow and Flash to get Supergirl, that kind of thing. But right. I think like maybe a one-off way down the line, once they see how popular it is and everything, is really possible. So.
I think you're right, Brent. I think especially if Supergirl season 1 does really, really excellent, there definitely is a possibility for a crossover. Maybe even in that team-up series that CW will be starting, the DC Legends, or what was it called now?
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow. Yeah, so it's a very good possibility, but we need to get Brendan Routh out of that Iron Man lookalike suit and into an actual Atom costume, I think, because I'm not digging that. I'm really not digging that at all. So,
at least he is now shrinking.
Oh, he is shrinking now. He did shrink, actually, finally.
Oh, yeah. About time something moved on.
I have yet to watch a lot. I am far behind on a lot of stuff. I actually did start watching Daredevil episode 2 finally. I'm really, with Flash and Green Arrow, I know I could catch up through DVDs. With Daredevil, it's right in front of me right now in the full run, so I feel like while I'm waiting for Flash and Green Arrow to come out on DVD, I still can catch up with Daredevil and enjoy the full series while I'm waiting on the DVD sets to come out. I still have to get Arrow season 2 though, which I'm probably going to get during the summer sometime.
Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't get Arrow season 2 yet.
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Have you checked to see if that's on Netflix? I don't know if it is or not. Honestly,
I think Arrow is, as a matter of fact.
Well, you just want to get the collecting run of.
Well, yeah, I want to own it, but still, it is on Netflix, I believe.
Well, I get what you're saying. What you want to do.
I think it is on Netflix, though, Brant. I think I saw Arrow, and I'm waiting. Maybe when Flash ends, Flash will also end up on Netflix.
Yeah, Arrow season 2 is, or let's see. I guess season 1 and 2 are on there.
Yeah, because they're probably both on DVD now. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, there you go. I could still catch up to Arrow season 1 and 2, and then when 3 comes out, I'll be ready for that. But I still want to catch up on Daredevil first, if anything. You guys know out there that I'm really not a huge media buff. Unfortunately, you know, a lot of things that are going on with me. I've got the writing, I've got the reading, I've got the reviewing. I've got the games and toys, which I do have a delivery coming. 3 new toys are on the way. They will be featured on the next episode, hopefully. They should be here next week. So the next episode, this month's episode of Hall of Toys, all 3 of those toys will be featured on there. I'll be talking about them, and I'm not going to spoil what they are, but let's just say 2 out of the 3 figures might not make it out of their packaging just because the packaging is amazing.
And it would lose value if it was.
I don't give a crap about value. The one thing, and I'm going to ask Brandon this too, and I'm going to ask you this too. When it comes to me, if I buy something, whether it be a figure, a DVD set, a rare comic book, a rare figure, a limited edition, anything, it's mine. I'm not planning on ever selling it, period. So I'll take it out of the packaging. I'll read the book. I'll display the book or whatever. But once I own it, I own it. My mind never goes to, okay, well, I read it. It's worth a lot of money. I'm going to wait till it goes up, and then I'm going to sell it. You have a lot of comic books now. Like me, we both have a huge gaming collection. You got DVDs also. You've got some limited edition Mario stuff.
But they're mostly out of the package.
Yes, but would you sell? Hi, Dan. And Dan's here. Hi, Dan.
Hey.
And then
How's it going?
The gang's all here.
The gang's all here. So now I'm going to ask Dan too. Dan, when I get to you, I'll ask the question again so you don't miss out. So what about you?
When it comes to Mario stuff,
We're just doing. This is a really stretched out intro.
I don't know.
So nothing discussed yet except Supergirl.
I like to collect classic stuff. As far as selling it, when it comes to Mario, I don't really. I mean, I could probably buy another Mario game, but if you're talking like the NES, like the first Super Mario Brothers, like that kind of game, I don't know if I could, because it's legendary and it's something that brought out Nintendo. So once it's in your collection, like me, it's yours permanent. Yeah, I mean, even though I talk about it, I just don't feel like I'm the type of guy who sells it. So I want to pass it down to my children and children's children and so on.
Right, so it's something to stay in the family. What about you, Brant? Do you ever, when you buy something, once it's in your collection, is it a permanent stick, or are there certain things that you consider selling down the road?
In my case, it's a little bit different because over the years, circumstances have dictated I've had to sell stuff in the past. I think generally when I buy stuff, it's just for me. I'm not thinking ahead that I'm going to buy this and to sell it down the line. I may have done that with a couple of books back in the '90s and regretted it. I've got like 5 copies of X-Force #1 bagged, by the way, if anybody's looking. Yeah, generally I just buy stuff, because I want it, I like it, and I'm gonna keep it, or like Mike said, maybe pass down to my kids or something. I know I passed down some stuff to my little brother, when I got older too, with action figures and stuff like that. But there, there's times I'll in the past I've had to get to a point where weigh the stuff I really want to keep versus the stuff I can let go, and I would do that. But there's certain things that I can't let go. I have to keep. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're mostly a keep. Dan, my question was, we were talking about collecting, and I was talking about I got 3 figures coming in the mail, and 2 of them were going to end up in packaging, and then Mike said, well, yeah, because of the value, and then it actually sprung out.
No, I said
so the value stays.
You keep it as a value.
And actually, Dan, you're the reason why I found these 3 figures. I'll tell you after live what they are and why they are. But anyway, when you buy something, Dan, do you buy it for the value, or once it's in your collection, is it like, and especially because I know you buy a lot of Marvel Legends figures right now, when you buy it, is it something that you keep in your collection forever, or is it something that down the road you could see possibly selling?
I never buy anything with the intent of reselling it. So if something is resold, it's because, for whatever reason, either to make room or just a better maybe version came along. Mm-hmm. So I've never really bought even comics. I was collecting when everyone was buying multiple copies and lenticular covers and all this craziness, but I never really invested in anything. I just bought my copy to read, and that was that. There were comics that once they made a collection that had X-Men '94 and Giant Size #1, I sold those because I didn't need them, because I'm just a reader, not a investor. So yeah, so basically, even with the action figures, usually keeping them, I'll bust them out. I'm not looking to keep them in package and resell. I like to have them for display.
Yeah, that's a good reason too. If you like with comics, I had gotten like the first 2 single trades of like Invincible, and then later on I got like the Ultimate Collection hardcover. So I actually gave the 2 trades away as a contest prize on Zone 4. So I'll do stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of another thing when it comes to like, if I get a trade paperback and I have like the single issues, I'll give it to Michael. But really, I don't we don't have too many friends in person that like comic books. So usually if I have something that's in a collected version, I'll give it to Mike and vice versa with Mike. So yeah, I guess that too. But I just meant in general, like, for example, I was offered $100,000 for that Captain America shield I have. But that shield is never, and if the person who offered me that money ever, going to be put on sale. So when it comes to my collection, if I own it or if I bought it, if I spent money on it, I plan on keeping it in my collection the way I want, how I want, and then when I pass on, if my children want it, they get it. If they don't, it goes to Michael's children. Let's say it could happen. Tommy might not be a comic fan. Maybe Michael's daughter and son, or daughter, son, whatever he has, it would be a comic fan. It'll go to Michael's kids then because they'll be interested in it more. Maybe Tommy will like Spider-Man. Michael has a lot of old Spider-Man. Maybe when he passes on, I love how we're talking about we're dead. I love how we're just dead all of a sudden. We're dead. We're dead along the line. We're dead. So either way, anything that I own, unless I have a duplicate of it and somebody offers me money for it, it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, because I know that everywhere, the one comic I know that you're looking for that's going to be almost impossible to get is Action Comics
it'll never happen.
#1. I swear, I ever found it at a good price, which isn't above and beyond, which wouldn't be above and beyond $1 million or something.
Above and beyond $1 million?
No, if it wasn't, no, you didn't hear me. If it wasn't like in the hundreds, then I would buy it and then give it to you, and then you'd be probably shocked.
All right, so let me go 100,000.
Is that the hundreds or the 100,000s? What are we?
It's not gonna be 100.
You're never gonna find that book in the hundreds. For me, I'd be the same way with like Amazing Fantasy 15. That'd be. Yeah. But honestly, if I had that cap shield and somebody offered me $100,000, I'd be like, where do I mail it to?
Well, you gotta understand. The Captain America shield I have, okay, let me explain. The Captain America, and I got the comments up. I'll answer comments in a second. The Captain America shield I have is only a 500 limited edition piece run. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is displaying it, selling it, talking about it, anything. The shield is almost completely, you can't find it anywhere. I got lucky, I found it. It was the last one at Big Bad Toy Store. One other person, Callie's Collectibles, has that shield. It was in one of his pictures on his Facebook page. That's it. That was
a guy named Dan.
Oh yeah.
A guy named Dan.
Wait, no, Dan. Don't you have the Marvel Masterpiece one?
Factory X, I think I have.
Yeah, no, mine isn't Factory X. Mine is the Captain America Reborn. Instead of like the light blue, it's like the darker blue, like the Bucky shield.
Yeah, I'm not sure which it is actually. I actually had one that was like a little damaged, and then I sold that at a discount to a friend and got a second one.
The one that I have comes with, it looks like a crate top, and it has the shield logo on it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it came in. I can't recall.
It says Top Secret on it.
Yeah, the box actually says Top Secret on it.
Yeah, that might have been it.
The damaged one or the new one you have?
They were both at the same time. I got them one right after the other.
Wait, do you have it with you, or?
It's hanging on the wall downstairs.
Oh.
You got to take pictures now. Now I'm actually curious. Dan might actually have a third out of 500 in this entire series that nobody's displaying anywhere.
And then my coworker has a damaged one.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Brant, you got to get on the Captain America shield bandwagon now. You got to get you a cap shield.
Assemble.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk to Chris Evans. Maybe he'll send you one of the prop ones from the movie.
Oh my goodness.
That'll work. I won't sell that.
And make sure he signs it too, because that would be worth everything.
But that's why I don't want to sell it. I probably never will sell. It's one of the crown jewels next to the Superman cape that Mike got me in my collection, as far as outside of comic books. So I'm very connected to that shield.
Also the Kryptonite one that
which is over there, right?
No, the one.
Oh yeah, from the Superman movie, the Reed movie. All right, comment time.
Yeah.
and then we'll go into some talk about comic books. That's what this live show is all about. The books. And only the books, so help us God. Tevya, hello. Hi, Tevya. What happened, Tevya? I explained at the beginning of the remake. The live show crashed. Shadow Ash, hi, guys. Hi, hi, Ashley.
Shadow Ash.
Jeremy, hello, guys. How are you tonight? So what's your favorite and least favorite Convergence tie-ins? We'll talk about some of the tie-ins as we go along. I know Dan is far behind. I know Brant read a couple. So we could talk a little bit about a couple of the books, but that's probably about it. Then Tevye asked a couple of questions about Convergence, and all right, we'll get to that question in a minute. Tim, back up and live, sweet. Yeah, Tim, we had a malfunction. And then Justin, happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday, Justin.
Happy Friday.
All right. Tevye asked this question, and I think it's a newer one, so it's definitely something we could answer. Question: what is your guys' opinion of superheroes and marriages, and why does Marvel and DC Comics hate their characters being married? Because in my opinion, I'm pissed that both Marvel and DC Comics hate their characters being married, which doesn't make any sense to me. Why does Marvel hate Spider-Man being married, and why did DC hate Superman, The Flash, and some other characters? I don't get why. I'm not cursing here. Both companies feel that way. Well, I'm going to add that in because he didn't put that in. Feel that way, in my opinion.
That's a good one.
That's a good question, Tevye. Write Dan Didio, and if he writes you back, let us know what he says. But I'm going to go. Brant, do you have any opinion on the marriages?
Marvel-wise, I think it has a lot to do, specifically Spider-Man, I think it has a lot to do with the image of him in the movies. They wanted, they tend to kind of match their characters to their movie counterparts, so people that find them are familiar with them. But at the same time, they felt like he was. They wanted to keep him timeless, ageless, kind of classic. And Bendis hated him being married. And I'm getting an echo, by the way.
Hold on. I don't know if is it from us.
So I don't know. I can't tell. But yeah, I don't agree with it. I think the characters should be able to. Yeah, that's better. I think the characters should be able to grow and progress naturally, and I was upset about that whole dissolving, making it non-existent and all that stuff too. But it was just a way to kind of de-age him and keep him timeless. I think it's the same way across the board. That's what they want to do, but it risks the growth of the characters.
I agree. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I'd echo those thoughts. I mean, I think they wanted to be as relatable as possible to the readership, and comics have been stereotypically, for like some guy who's a social misfit or something like that. So, I mean, even now when they cover Comic-Con on Entertainment Tonight or something, they make some type of slide joke about how, there was a girl at Comic-Con and no one's ever seen a girl before, and it's just. So I think they always think that that's kind of the readership, and they want to everyone to be able to relate to the character. And there's a great number of readers who are married and normal lives and everything like that, but they may still be trying to please that marketplace.
Yeah, and this is a perfect segue actually into a little bit of Convergence. There are only a few books that really mattered to me this week. And Dan, I showed you this book last week when we were talking on live. I actually had the chance to finally read it. Superman, issue number 2 of 2. In my opinion, I showed you the art, Dan. Brant, I know you read this book too. This book is Superman. This is the Superman we haven't seen in 5 years. And I gotta be honest. Okay, Lois has the child. Long story short, Lois has the child at the end of this book. Now, I'm a writer. Dan, you're a writer. Brant, you're a writer. And I know your opinion already, so don't feel bad that you're not a writer. As writers, would you be able to write a Superman story where he still marries to Lois and now there's a kid? Do you not see that there's a really, really great potential for really huge stories to come out of Superman now that he has a son? I don't know.
Who are we going to first?
Whoever wants to talk first.
Okay. I thought Dan was going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we went before with Brant first and me, so I figured we were keeping
Oh,
track.
okay, you're right. My bad.
We could do that formula if it works for you guys.
Okay. That works fine. That's cool. No, totally. There's definitely potential to tell stories with any character. Once they're married and have kids and all that stuff, it adds another layer and another depth to them. It kind of changes their approach to things, and I think you could really explore that. He's going to be even more protective and maybe even more secretive than before. You could go that route, or you could go, this is my family. I mean, there's so many different ways you could go, and there's so many different ways you could play that with the villains that interacting too. So, yeah, there's definitely potential to tell stories like that.
I think it kind of goes back to what Brant said before, as far as they want the general public to have an idea of the concept, and if you throw anything in that isn't in the original concept, something that is different, then it becomes hard for everyone to catch up. I mean, they did try to attempt to catch the people up with Superman marrying Lois with, Lois and Clark, the TV show with Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain. So, they can sometimes make a progression, and they try to catch the public up to speed. But, yeah, as we've seen, eventually I think they get gun-shy about it. And in comics in general, I think with the classic characters, there's always this desire to go back to the purity of it and to try to, turn the clock back and get it back to its core foundations and everything like that. So in that respect, I think, there's going to be some creator who comes along who says, they ruined the character, and I'm going to be the one that gets it back on track. Forget this. Mephisto's going to make believe the wedding never happened, and, they'll just do whatever they need to do editorially, get it back to where they think it should be, and then, other writers will progress it until someone comes along and wants to turn it back to the original again.
Personally, though, I think that, with Spider-Man, it was getting back to basics. It really was. They wanted to give him more of the freedom of not being married, not having any ties, and just being out there as Spider-Man. In this case, though, in Superman's case, we got our free comic book day books. We'll show a couple of them off at some point in the live show. But in Superman's case especially, he is complete polar opposite during Divergence. He's been outed by Lois Lane. He's not married to Lois. There's no kid. He's completely different. He is a character that is, for Superman fans like myself especially, and Dan, he is a completely unrecognizable character. If a person in the early 2000s, 90s, whatever, was put in a coma and woke up in the year 2015, June 2015, and said, gee, I haven't well, first of all, if you did this, then you're crazy. But beside the point, if you woke up from a coma in June of 2015 and said, gee, I've been in a coma for, about 15 years, or however long, I wonder how my comic books are doing. Let's say you're a comic collector and you were put in a coma. You were hit in the head by something, whatever. And you wake up from this coma and you go to the comic shop. I know this is a horrible analogy, but forgive me. But pretend that you've been away from comic books for a good while. And you go to the comic store. You've not seen anything in over 10 years, from 10 years back. And you pick up the Superman book, and Superman was your #1 favorite book. You would not recognize I don't think anyone, if they dropped DC back in the early 2000s, if they came back now, they would not recognize the universe anymore. It would be something so different that I think any old fan who walked away and for whatever reason and wanted to come back, it would basically prevent them from coming back, because DC is definitely for the new 52 readers right now. It really is.
Or you could just say, instead of using a coma, like something like someone used a magical...
Okay, we're not going to... Okay, stop the
magical time machine.
Why don't you use the fact that you were stuck in a glacier, the Submariner threw it, and then Giant Man pulled you by the leg into the ship, and now you have that expensive shield, and now you're back to the land of the living.
Okay, fine, we'll go with that.
It works.
But, I mean, seriously, I feel like, and I read the intro to the Divergence book, and it was very touching. Dan Didio, we we believe in the. I swear, as I was reading it in my head, every other sentence, I was going, bullshit, bullshit, because he was like, we respect the mythos of our characters, but life and everything is ever changing.
The way they were.
Life is ever changing, and to follow the demographics and the people or the readers in this new gen. Why are you trying so hard to keep the readers in the new generations? Focus on the old generation and appease the new generation some other way. Don't destroy your entire universe. Oh, what, Brant?
I slightly disagree with that.
Okay.
I think for comics to survive, you have to focus on the next generation because the older generation is eventually going to fade away, and if nobody's reading it, past that, then it dies.
But would you?
So you do have to.
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish. I thought you were done. Sorry, you delayed a little.
No, I was basically just going to, summarize what I just said. So go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is I agree with you 100%. You got to keep the newer generations in mind. But would you redo an entire universe of characters and not just, Infinite Crisis, the characters stayed the same after it. It's just they changed, they did little tweaks. Infinite Crisis, little tweaks. 0 Hour, little tiny tweaks. Why Flashpoint reboot the entire universe, start all the way from the beginning again, and creators have editorial has complete creative control over a brand spanking new direction. Little tweaks, yes. Modernize the characters, of course. But a full-on restart, you know what I mean?
At this stage, I wouldn't, because there's so many people that are, that were still around with those classic stories they're still reading. I think down the line, when you've really got new readers coming into it and there's not a whole lot of that old guard, I think that would have been a better time. But at the same time, I'm still kind of split on this whole thing, because I still commend them for taking a chance and being bold and doing a big move to try something different, try something new, and try to reach new readers. You have to respect that. But I agree. I think it was a disservice to the majority of comic fans to just wipe away everything. And I'm still hoping that after all this Convergence, Divergence, whatever stuff is done, that we're going to get that sprinkling in, that kind of more post-crisis kind of merging of the two eras together.
Yeah. Well, what did you think, since I'm on you, Brent, and then I'll ask Dan his opinion on I know Dan didn't finish Superman, but what did you think about Superman #2, personally?
It was, anybody that watched the live show knows it was in my top 5. It was my #4 spot in my top 5. I absolutely loved it. It was classic Superman. It's the way Superman should be written, should be drawn, in my personal opinion. It's the Superman that I grew up with. It's, the one we all grew up with, kind of. And I loved the heart of that story. It was just, it felt like this classic Superman tale, and it felt like Superman more than Superman's felt like Superman even in pre-New 52 for a while. So, I really enjoyed it. I think it's definitely one of the, probably for me, one of the top 5 of the Convergence books overall.
Gotcha. Dan, did you get to read issue 1 at all, or you're completely waiting for everything in trade?
No, I did flip through #1, and I saw that was the one with Captain Thunder and everything, right?
Yeah.
Where he said, we have one in my universe as well, stay down, all this. So, yeah, I mean, I almost wonder if by having the real Superman have a kid, if they're kind of telling us that he doesn't matter anymore. Like,
exactly. Yes. You know what I mean? Said it.
Yeah, it could be like, we could do anything with this guy because he's not the real Superman anymore. For us he is, but that might be their take on it, Like, it doesn't matter. We can give him a kid, have Lois die, do whatever. The real Superman for us now is the dude without the trunks, and that's the one we're invested in, and that's the one that we'll be a little more careful with, unfortunately.
I kind of look at it a little bit differently. I get what you're saying. And that could very well be the case. I think also, though, if they are done with that Superman, if they are just moving forward, that they were at least trying to give some kind of closure and some kind of happy ending for that version of the character. And this book kind of did that. I felt like if this was the last thing we saw with that version of Superman, it was a good ending for that character. As much as I don't want it to be the end, I'm just saying, it was a decent.
I know what you mean. Like, it's like, when Flashpoint happened, everything just changed at the shot of a lightning bolt. So none of the characters truly had that happy ending or an ending. It was just the story arc's over. Okay, Flashpoint's happening. Everything stopped, and then the New 52 happened, and nothing got a proper the end. And this is what we thought Convergence could be, and it looks like Convergence is actually that. And another really proper ending was, and I don't know how invested you guys are with Wally West as the Flash, but Speed Force, I feel, was a really good issue also. Mm-hmm. Did you read issue 1 at least, Dan, of Speed Force with Flash versus Wonder Woman?
No, I didn't read that one. I think I have it, but I don't think I've read it.
I think Tom Grummett is actually the one that does the artwork in this book, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure. Yeah, Tom Grummett actually does the artwork in this book, and you know Tom Grummett because he did a lot of the books we were talking about last week.
Teen Titans and stuff.
Yeah. He did an excellent job with the artwork in this book, and I really, this felt like Wally West. This felt like the Flash I grew up with from the 80s, all the way through till Barry Allen came back and then screwed up the entire DC universe because he did Flashpoint. But beside the point, I really thought this was another really good conclusion with this character, with Wally West's character as the Flash. The artwork was beautiful. It was nice for Wally because Barry's the one that saw Wonder Woman in Flashpoint, not Wally. So this is Wally's first time seeing her. And saying you're the worst Wonder Woman in all the multiverse. And remember, Superwoman is a perverted version of Wonder Woman. So for him to say she's worse than Superwoman, that was a wow moment for me also. I just thought it was just really good. You got that family feeling because his kids were in the book. And it's just that warm kind of bright DC universe that the 90s and the early 2000s gave us. And, the first week of Convergence, these books were my favorite. As we move on, or as we move down the line and we go backwards in time, for me the books kind of get less and less relatable. But for this first week, though, I feel like a lot of the stories that we got were really concluded nicely. Dan, you didn't read it. Brant, did you read Speed Force?
Yeah, absolutely. Wally West is my Flash, too. He's my favorite Flash character, period. And I thought this was, again, really faithful to that character. I love, the whole... They kind of explain the whole thing with his kids, how he thinks about them, and he's tethered to them because of the Speed Force and all that stuff. And I love how they played with that throughout it. And like you said, his whole altercation with Flashpoint Wonder Woman was handled really well. Even though Fastback from the Zoo Crew was there, he was kind of just an aside. It was kind of fun. But yeah, it was. They got Wally West's voice right, and it's that's the Flash character we haven't seen for a long time, and I was really happy to see him back. So, I think that was probably one of my favorite series as well.
Absolutely.
I'm the only guy who grew up with Barry Allen here.
No, Jay also grew up with Barry. He was a Barry fan also. I'm a fan.
I came into DC a little bit later. Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, you came into it later in the 90s.
I came in. Yeah.
Sorry, there must be a little delay because I noticed I start talking and then Brant does. I apologize, Brant. I don't know why.
Yeah, it may be on my end. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
On the subject of the Superman, though, going back to that for a second, I know they tried to give a proper goodbye to Earth 2 Superman as well in Infinite Crisis. Because, he was the original. But then I thought, didn't they have an issue of Adventures of Superman where they kind of tried to give a goodbye to Earth 1 Superman or the real Superman, whatever you want to call him at this point? Didn't Adventures of Superman try to do that also?
I think they did. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I thought one of their issues they gave an issue that was kind of like a farewell to him. But again, they did it again, so Who knows? Maybe they'll bring him back still.
Yeah, I think that, Convergence is more of a tester to see if a multiverse would actually work. Did it work, Brant? Say something.
Something.
Yeah, it worked. Because now you said it right
Okay.
after I asked it. Perfect. Gotta love Google, everybody. You must love Google. If you don't love Google, then you must not be connected to the world. I hate Google. Fight the power. There was another good moment. I know Brant didn't read this book yet. Dan, you probably didn't read it either. But I'm going to throw it out there because I know you know these moments, Dan. Especially you read Superman. In Batman and Robin, the story was decent. I thought it was good. What really made it better was the very end, because it was such a classic. You're reading pre-New 52 DC, when at the end of a story arc or whatever, Superman shows up to talk with Batman, and they recap what went on either in Batman's book or in Superman's book. And in this book, Superman shows up and is talking with Batman about Jason and Damian, and Batman's talking about how Damian and Jason are, well, Damian is his son, but like how Jason is like a son to him. All of the Bat family is like family to him, and he's talking with Superman about, welcoming his son into, or being happy about his son in the world. It's just like that recap moment. They've always done this with Superman and Batman in the 90s. It shows how close of a friendship they had and how tight it was, that they, too, in a way, were like brothers, because anytime something would happen, something big, one of them would show up in the end and they would talk to each other about it. And I just felt like the ending to this book, whether you agreed with the artwork, didn't agree with the artwork, whether you agreed with the story or you didn't agree with the story, that part felt like something from the 90s and the early 2000s with Superman and Batman, because they always had that type of friendship where one would be there for the other, and it wouldn't matter if it was Superman in a Batman book, Batman in a Superman book, it always happened. It always happened at some point. And I thought that showed how strong of a friendship they had.
Now, Convergence has pre-New 52 Superman and New 52 Superman.
Soon.
Do they have pre-New 52 Batman?
Yes. That's this Batman from Batman and Robin.
Okay, that is. So he has the trunks also to differentiate him.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
But now the New 52 Superman and the New 52 superheroes are not in Convergence yet. They're supposed to show up in the last 3 issues. So I believe the next issue will probably introduce them. And it's going to be like they're going to fight against Deimos, because apparently Telos has been erased in this issue. In issue 5, Telos was erased as the antagonist completely. And now Deimos is the antagonist for the rest of Convergence. And it's going to be, Telos wanted everybody to fight against each other. Deimos wants to rule over all of the DC multiverse.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And I did too. But at least with this outline, with the way they're planning the rest of the series, this is what I expect, like semi-expected. It's going down the road I expected for issue number 1, where the cities were supposed to fight, but they decided not to fight. They decided to unite and fight against Telos. Now, apparently, Telos doesn't matter at all anymore, and now they're going to unite and fight against Deimos instead. And this isn't called Crisis. This isn't Crisis. But it sounds a whole lot like Crisis, in my opinion. Dan, you'd be enjoying this a little bit. With Convergence, though, you have to have read... Did you read Earth 2? Have you read the Tom Taylor Earth 2?
I was reading Earth 2 at the beginning. I was reading World's Finest with Power Girl and Huntress, and I was reading Earth 2 with, Green Lantern, the New Flash, all those guys.
Right. So, are you continuing it, or you dropped it?
No, I continued to buy it, but I stopped reading at some point and turned to other things.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is kind of following those heroes. Convergence is following them, which I think a lot of people, myself and Brant included, kind of feel let down about. Because I don't know, Brant, if you felt the same way. I'll ask you in a second. But we were kind of let down because we thought it was going to focus on the grander picture of all the cities, all the superheroes kind of fighting and then uniting against Telos. Now Telos, like I said, he's wiped out. Now they're going to be uniting against Deimos instead, who's been enslaving a bunch of time travelers like Booster Gold and his cousin or his sister, and using their abilities or their time travel abilities and using it to fight against Brainiac and Telos and basically to rule the entire multiverse. Now, Brent, I want to make sure that I'm on the same page, and if I'm wrong, to be corrected. I'm on the right track with how you feel too, right?
More or less, yeah. I mean, I wasn't quite as invested as in the Earth 2 series as the rest of you guys on Frontline. I read it here and there, but at the same time, we got that whole weekly series of Earth 2, and by the end of all that stuff, everybody I think was sick of the Earth 2 characters, and seeing them be the focus of that main Convergence series was it's kind of hard to stomach a little bit. I was hoping more that it was going to be, like you said, a uniting of all these different people, and I think in the last 2 or 3 issues of that series, that's the way it's going to be. But the lead up to it has been all Earth 2, and I'm just not as connected to those particular characters, so it was a little bit disappointing for me. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, before we go into comments, because we're done with DC, unless Dan, is there any book you'd like to discuss from DC Comics?
Yeah, Skull Kickers. No, I'm only kidding.
Skull Kickers is an awesome book. I told you I read a lot of that. It's a really good book.
Yeah, I mean, I've been reading Love and Rockets, Skull Kickers, starting up on Wayward, so that's why I'm kind of out of the loop with the stuff.
You backed away from the events.
Yeah. So, and with my comic shop closing down, now doing mail order and not getting them weekly, it makes you fall behind on the current events.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate. I remember that, making up a new schedule for the books, and like today, my books didn't even come today. They're probably going to come tomorrow.
Our books didn't come.
Yeah, well, both of them. So we're kind of left out in the dark until at least tomorrow now. Hopefully, just tomorrow. So, Brant, were there any other Convergence books you wanted to make mention of? Because I know you read, you liked other books that I didn't particularly, or Mike read instead.
Yeah, briefly, Nightwing and Oracle was my absolute favorite Convergence title. That Gail Simone writing, those 2 characters is just gold for me. I think she's the best writer on those characters. She was from that era that I was reading DC, and I think it was just this beautiful story for those 2 characters. There was the wedding proposal, the turning down, the accepting the marriage to end it all. And that was kind of their happy ending going forward in that. And you saw how brilliant Oracle was and how ingenuitive Dick Grayson was. It was a really good series that I would love to see just like a whole series.
Exactly.
Again,
so you like to see a series where Nightwing is married to Oracle?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. So.
I have one question, though, Brent, and this is kind of what threw me off with that book and a few other books. Now, they got married. They had the wedding. Did they have the wedding on Telos, or did they end up going back to their point in time, and that's where the wedding takes place? That's where I was kind of thrown off with a lot of the books, because a lot of the books had that, ending somewhere else, that happy ending somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're still on Telos, however you say it. Because they also made reference to this earthquake in a few of the books, and that's what's happening in the underground Skartaris, something going on there. That's what's causing that. So I kind of get the impression they're still on that planet. They just kind of accepted, okay, we don't know what's going to happen next, but we're going to go. We won our battle, so we're just going to go on with our life and take the next step as it comes, kind of thing.
Gotcha. All right, guys. Before we get back into comments. Spider-Gwen, issue number 4. Code coming at you now. So, anybody who's watching and wants a free digital copy, there's your code. You can pause the video, you can put the code in on Marvel, and enjoy your free copy of Spider-Gwen. We have 3 other books still to come, one of them being the grand finale book, which will be Secret Wars, issue number 1. So, stay tuned until the end of the show. And you might be walking away with Secret Wars number 1. We will be giving away all of the Secret Wars books digitally on this show. So tell your friends, tell everybody who's interested. If you couldn't afford to get a book, if you were unable to get a book, whatever, we here at Dark Avenger Live are here to provide for you guys an A1 show and to get you guys to come away from the show with not just the knowledge and the fun of the show, but maybe something more. So if you get away with you come away from the show with a fun night, fun Friday night, a free comic book, and just good times, the show did what it was meant to do. And now we're going to go back to comments because I saw Scotty Showman. Hi, Scotty, because I know one of them is, yep. Hey, Mike, Chris, Brant, and Dan. Happy Friday. Hi, Scotty. And he has 3 questions, it looks like. First question is for me and you.
Oh, okay.
I know you guys are big Street Fighters fans.
Yep.
Who are your most favorite characters to use in that game? Ryu, Ken.
Really?
I like Ken.
So wait, more than one, or do we have to choose?
Well, my most favorite characters are those 2. I mean,
Well, mine is definitely Ryu, and some people say Ryu, but I still say it's Ryu. Ken from time to time, and also I can't remember the other guy's name. Like I would play Bison from time to time, but mostly Ryu.
all right, well, let's not stretch this out. All right, this one is for Mike and me, but I'm going to put it to everybody because I know Brant plays video games, and I know Dan has memories of video games, so we're going to go with it. Scotty says, I have had so many good memories playing video games growing up with my brother. I'm sure you guys have many fun moments playing games together. Can you share a fun memory? I could share a current fun memory. This one playing the Nintendo Remix.
God.
That game is a rage-inducing game. You will claw at the walls. And this one was going crazy off camera because he couldn't pass the level.
Because the way they were doing it. I'm
So,
like,
me and Ellie were dying
Yeah,
on
you
the
were
floor
dying.
laughing at this kid's complete and utter rage.
I rage when I don't get anything, totally like that. However, though, if you do want to see some memories, we do have a series we're working on my Do Arcade Team channel called Bros Team
And
and Old
versus.
Bros Versus.
Oh, and I have a good memory with Brant. Mario Kart.
Oh my God! Oh,
Brant, what are some fond memories you have of gaming?
Well, first, can I answer the Street Fighter question?
Oh, absolutely. Go for it.
Yeah. I think Ryu, whatever he's, I don't care. That's probably the one I used most. I actually liked using odd characters though. I liked using Dalsim a lot because of the legs and feet, the way they would stretch and stuff. And I could often beat opponents easily with that one. So I didn't like the character, but I liked using them a lot. And those are probably the 2 main ones I can think of from that game. But anyway, fun gaming memories. There was I think this was on the original, the first NES, the first Nintendo. Me and my cousin, we would like every week or so, we would go down the street and rent a couple of games. We were allowed to rent 2 at a time. We lived together at the time, and I'd say we were probably like 11, 12, something like that. I don't know. And we rented 2 games, probably that nobody's ever heard of, or at least one of them nobody's ever heard of. They were called Karnov and Double Dribble. And Double Dribble is a basketball game. Karnov was a side-scrolling adventure kind of thing where it was kind of like Mega Man in a way where you picked up attachments and all this kind of stuff, but it was set in this snowy background. Anyway, we got into this thing. We had all these games in front of us. I don't remember if it was like winter break or something like that. We had all these games in front of us, and we were like, all right, what are we going to play? And we had these 2 games we rented, and we made up a song for these two games, and we were just sitting there like, we're going to play this. Double Dribble, Karnov. Double Dribble. I don't know, it's stupid, it's lame, but it was fun to us. And we got so excited, so we were like going back and forth between the 2 games. We play a level of Karnov and be like, okay, bored with that, let's go play some basketball. So, yeah, it's just fun stuff like that.
That actually is a very awesome memory. Dan, do you have any memory? I mean, if you've played any video games, like, do you have any memories of any of them?
Well, I got to go with Street Fighter first, right?
Yeah. If you,
The Street Fighter, I would sit through the Van Damme moments, wait for the Ming Na Wen moments, because Ming Na Wen back then, she's looking okay there. So that's my Street Fighter memories. Yeah, video games, I just remember really liking Godzilla on Sega Genesis, and knowing that when I came across another monster while I was playing Godzilla, if I just like went like that on the button, I could like take any monster and win the whole game just by like continuing your attack. So good times, good times.
I gotta agree with you, Dan. Ming Na Wen is Chun-Li perfect.
There you go. Well casted.
I don't understand that move. That was the worst movie. I mean, I would rather watch Mortal Kombat than Street Fighter.
Mortal Kombat was awesome. The movie, the first one.
The first one.
Absolutely awesome.
The second one.
Yeah, the first one
Destroyed it.
Oh, yeah, it was still better than Street Fighter.
Yeah. Now, what you said you had one other memory, but we have another question. So quickly,
the one memory, if you remember this, when we played Half-Life on PlayStation 2. Like, every time when I would tell this one over here to go to the other side and hit the button, he just goes a completely different route. I'm like saying, go this way, and then he goes that way.
I ignore him.
But when, and the van kept pushing me away, and I said, hit the button. You don't hit the button, you go here, and then you finish this off. I'm like, Chris, I am stuck.
I have to say, I wish Half-Life 1 would be remade on the new next-gen consoles with the two-player co-op. The co-op for Half-Life 1 was the most fun, and it added to the actual game. So there was the main game going on, and then this co-op was going on, and it coincided, one next to the other. It was excellent. Oh my God! I wish that it would be made for next-gen, because all we have it for right now is the PlayStation 2. I would love to have it in the next-gen console, but anyway. Tim Marston, and Brant, you might have to get images in case Dan didn't see. Tim asked, thoughts on the new Falcon and Crossbone images from the set of Civil War. I know Brant probably saw it. Dan, did you see them?
Yes, I saw those pictures.
Oh, you
I
did?
actually
Awesome.
did not see it.
Great. I will say I saw them. I'll show you.
Just
I'm
saying,
looking them up now.
Oh, you're gonna do it, Brant?
Yeah, I'm looking them up now.
Okay, Brant's going to do it. Well, while Brant's looking it up, I'll give my opinion, and then, Michael, you can give your opinion when you see the pictures. But I thought Crossbones would look really good. Falcon looked great also. I think both images look really good. Sam Wilson Falcon, yeah.
Okay.
He's in the new Cap movie. This is leading into Civil War.
All right.
I thought that both costumes looked really well done, in my opinion. Crossbones is a little different. Here we go. Let me click Brant so I can see it. This Crossbones. Now, you know Crossbones because you've read a bit of him. That's Crossbones.
Oh, wow.
I think that costume's perfect, and that's the Falcon.
Whoa, that is amazing.
That feels like the ultimate U version.
I see Blade for some reason with the vampire hunter.
A little bit, maybe.
A little bit, I see. You know, not just because, you know, just the way, the personality I feel when I'm looking at this character.
Gotcha. What about you, Brad? What do you think of the two costumes?
Oh, I think, they look fantastic. I had not seen, this is the first time I've seen them, actually. They're really cool.
Gotcha. Dan, what about you?
Isn't Crossbones like a big dude in the comic?
Yeah, he's like huge kind of like
muscular. So, I mean, you know, I never hold the movies to any standard of it has to be like the comic. So it's a bit different, you know. That almost reminds me of like, what's his name? Slade Wilson in the Teen Titans cartoon. He looks a bit like.
Yeah.
And what about Falcon? Do you have any opinion on Falcon?
Yeah, he looks good. You know, it's a big departure, but kind of is what it is. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. At least it's not a bad thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for once a costume that isn't that bad.
I mean, raise your hand if you like the new Aquaman for the movies.
I actually don't mind it, actually.
You don't mind it. No blonde hair. Complete opposite. He's like a gothic version of Arthur.
He's like a barbarian version or something. I don't know.
Okay, I'll go barbarian. I'll take barbarian.
He looks a lot like, who's that wrestler?
Roman Reigns?
Yeah, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns should be calling it the Aquaman punch. from now on. I want to see him go to Aquaman. He doesn't seem like
Maybe he
Superman.
will after that movie comes out.
Yeah, I thought it was him for a second.
Speaking of wrestling, I have to say this, Dan. When I lost it when I was watching last week, and you went, "Holy!"
Yeah. Gotta believe that the real Superman can come back.
There you go.
I gotta say this though, out of that Fatal 6-Way that's going to be happening on the pay-per-view, I believe it's this Sunday. Fatal 4-Way. I think if WWE doesn't go the same route where it's predictable, Roman Reigns has a good chance of winning.
Yeah, but if they're gonna do what's best for business, they're gonna let that Seth Rollins keep rolling around and everything.
I'll tell you right now. You know how you can fix WWE? I'll tell you how you can fix it.
Go ahead.
Triple H needs to get the long hair back and go back to being just a cerebral assassin. Being a head is stupid. It doesn't fit his character. I like him as the cerebral assassin. He wants the belt. That's his goal, not running.
I don't know if his legs can take it.
Yeah,
He's torn quads, and I saw pictures of him fighting Sting, and there's some giant bruise. There's obviously a torn muscle.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the pictures. There's like a glute or a hamstring muscle tear. When you bruise like that, it's a muscle tear. He's torn quads. I think if he just steps the wrong way, he's tearing stuff. Kind of like...
so he's basically done wrestling.
Yeah, except for a one-off. Yeah, I think that's probably wise for him. And he likes this new role anyway. He's going to be taking over that business when Vince
of course
goes.
Of course.
But he was in WrestleMania 30 when he fought Daniel Bryan over him, unless it was recent.
But again, it's like what Dan just said, or Brant said, went on and take a break for a long time before he puts on the belt, the stuff again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that Sting just disappeared after losing. Also, I would like Sting to still be around a little bit. Maybe don't fight Triple H. Fight somebody else.
Fight the Undertaker at WrestleMania. That would be something.
Yeah, no.
That whole thing sucked. The way they ended that whole thing.
With Bray Wyatt or whatever.
Bray Wyatt.
With Sting and Triple H. I hated the way that ended.
Yeah, it was
NWO
and what, Dan?
NWO and the Click or whatever.
Yeah.
The next thing that came out, yep.
It was basically the Monday Night Wars in a wrestling match. And we all know the WWE won, so Triple H won.
But the problem with that is for weeks Sting was like, this isn't about WCW. And then it became about these WCW.
That's the thing.
We really went off topic.
Yeah. Sorry.
Hey, but it was a good off topic. I mean, it gives diversity to the live shows. Next, we have Amazing Spider-Man's Code.
What issue?
The last one, issue 18. I was actually talking to somebody today. Brant, you read 18, right? Well, you'll be right back. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying you read issue 18 while I'm showing the code off. Did you read what did you think about the whole run of Amazing Spider-Man that's now apparently over?
It had its moments, but it didn't quite line up, with what I feel Peter Parker is. I think Dan Slott's good at writing Superior Spider-Man, but I don't think he's ever been good at writing Peter Parker. That's just my personal opinion. I know there's plenty of people out there that would disagree, but I didn't like his run on Amazing before it ended. And, this has been okay, but it hasn't been my Spider-Man. So, I think he took a lot of missteps with it. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to somebody at my job who he reads Spider-Man, and he thought that this 18-issue run was just miserable. For people like Dan who collects in trade paperback now, I would not recommend this in trade paperback at all, unless you're buying it for, like you say, an artist. Story-wise, it definitely did not deliver like the old Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, Humberto Ramos has been good on that, so I've been picking up the trades.
Yeah. Oh, you have?
I love him. I love his art. Yeah.
The weird thing with Humberto Ramos is I didn't know, and of course this is because I got the comics and basically put them away, I didn't know he was the artist on Impulse. And I love the artwork on Impulse. His artwork definitely changed over the years, I will say that. Or maybe it just fit for Impulse.
Yeah, you were showing me that the other day.
Couldn't believe it.
I think he did get a little bit more stylized as time went on, as most artists do. But yeah, no, it was similar, definitely.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was similar but different. Like when I knew it was him, I saw his art again. But it was, I guess maybe it was just the coloring at the time. Maybe the coloring was different because in the 90s, I believe it was completely different. So maybe the computer coloring changed it, possibly. I don't know.
That and the fact that his version of Spider-Man is so recognizable. When you see him draw Spider-Man, you know it's him.
Right, without it actually saying drawn by. Yeah,
right.
That's true. Maybe for Spider-Man, he did that kind of stylized Spider-Man.
Maybe.
All right, so while Brant is BRBing, Dan, you were mentioning to me that the next Argo 5 is close to being ready.
Yeah, it's pretty much ready for the printer, and over this weekend, I should get it off to the printer, which usually means about 1 month from me sending it off to it being ready.
Okay, so basically a month from this weekend.
A month from this weekend, yes. And the issue after that's all lined up already, so that'll definitely be on time for just a month after that.
Awesome. Do you want to tease a little bit of what this issue is going to involve?
Let's see. Well, the title of this issue, Argo 5 number 17, is The Ballad of Captain Redneck. So we're going to be going down south, y'all.
Oh my God, that's going to be awesome.
And
will Jeff Foxworthy make an appearance? Because he was all redneck jokes.
Yeah, no, yeah, you know you're a redneck superhero when, yeah, not there. That's all kind of lined up. And as I think I stated in the last episode, we do have Alan Goldman, who I believe has been drawing Justice League or Superman right now. So he's a DC artist, did the cover and the interiors. You know, I caught him kind of just before he was really packed with work from DC. So caught him at a good time. Really thrilled about how his artwork is for this issue. Again, not as dark and gritty as DC Comics is at this point. It'll give a little more of a lighter tone as I try to sometimes infuse, you know, I don't want to say bringing the fun back to comics because a lot of people try to say that, but that is in my mind, trying to make it a little fun to read. And again, as always with my mission, not to have a never-ending storyline. It's kind of a done-in-one that people could just sit down and enjoy. So that is number 17. And then with 18, we go into the origin of Shazrat.
Oh, now you got me really pumped for issue 18. I really want to see. I really like Shazrat's character, and in issue 0, how he joins the team and everything. Yeah. I always wanted to see a little bit further back. That's gonna be a really interesting book then for me. That's gonna be something I'm gonna look forward to see. So the whole issue 18 is his past.
Yes, his past. And I guess I'll spoil this because we always want an exclusive right here for Dark Avenger Live. I have a watercolor, full-painted cover by Marvel artist Mike McCone.
Oh, my God, that's awesome.
So I do have an alternate cover by the interior artist Zilson Costa of Brazil. Since Shazrat is a Maltese character, that cover has Valletta in the background, which is the capital of Malta in the Mediterranean Sea, near Italy. You know, the Ventura brothers, they know about Italy.
Yep.
Malta is just south of it in the Mediterranean, and that is what, you know, Shazrat is the Maltese god of strength. So we will have the alternate cover, the variant cover rather, that has Malta in the background with the interior artist. giving that cover. But again, the regular cover, I don't want to make it so that people can't get it. So the regular cover is the watercolor painting by Mike McCone.
Gotcha. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Now, Brant. Oh, go ahead, Mike. You first, and I'll go
I
back.
do have a question. Is there anything on Sorority of Power coming out soon? Because I gotta know. I'm really looking forward to reading the next issue.
Yes, I've been pushing artists on that, and I did start another issue where another artist is actually making fast progress, so he might surpass the issue that was already in progress, and that issue may come out first. So,
I'm looking forward to it.
and on the subject of origins, we do give some background story on each of the members of Sorority of Power. So,
That would be awesome. I was actually wondering when that part of the story was going to be there, but that's really amazing. I can't wait to see that issue. And as always, just giving them 5 giggity goose stars, Dan. You deliver it, and it just keeps on getting it.
no, much appreciated. Yeah, I'm always hard at work to get new issues out.
I love Argo 5, Mike. Love Sorority. Now, Brant, as much as I'm writing for Last Ember Press, you've got a lot of the cogs moving. You're the one that's making all the cogs move. And my book isn't part of Wave 1. So with Last Ember Press, as much as I'm a part of it, this is still a live show. We're still talking about all the stuff we've got going on. How is Wave 1 and launch, which will be at Derby City, how is all that working out? How is all that progressing?
It's going nice. It's going along. We're running against the wire, but we're confident we're gonna be able to pull it off. We've got John's pneumatic cases. All the pencils and inks are done for the entire issue. We're about to enter the coloring stage for that. So I shared a cover of that, which I can actually.
I saw it on Facebook. You mentioned
I
it
have
on.
pulled up here.
Okay.
Real quick, if you want me to.
Oh, absolutely.
There's the cover for that. I'll zoom in a little bit. You guys see it?
Yep, got it. Just go down now because you have it. Yeah.
All right.
Very cool.
Okay.
That's awesome artwork.
I saw a fantasy
Alright, and-
I think, also, right?
What's that?
There was a fantasy image also on either DeviantArt or Facebook. I saw it.
Yeah, there's let's see if I can get that one open. There's we're doing an anthology series called Fireside Tales, and it's going to have 3 different stories in it. One of them's called Sharmageddon, and we have
That's what I
of
saw.
that. Yeah.
That looked great.
Thank you. All right, let's see. That's also something John wrote. I've got to find where the screen share thing is again. There we go. There's this. That's the first page of show.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I haven't seen that all.
Yeah. And then we also have. This is going to be the band. No, that's wrong. Let's see, where did it go? I've lost it. Here, I'll stop screen sharing and I'll find it. We got the banner image that we're going to have featuring my character, Ember, the main character of the studio. There she is. All right. I had all this prepared, I swear. There we go. Can you see that?
That looks spectacular.
Whoa.
Very nice.
Yeah, so actually, as we're recording this, Lisa is inking this banner, so that's pretty cool.
We gotta have Lisa come on one day when you're here, and while we're talking, have her doing like a live inking of one of the pages from
that would
Last
be
Ember
really
Press.
good.
That would be awesome. If
Yeah,
she-
that would be awesome.
Yeah. So you've got how many books coming out with Wave 1? I know, but I want everybody watching to know. So don't think I'm being stupid. I know. I just want to.
No. Right. No, if we're able to accomplish everything, if we're able to get everything done, we'll have pneumatic cases, which is a full-length issue. We'll have Fireside Tales, which has 3 different stories in it. It has Sharmageddon, Eek Little Monsters, which we actually just got a new artist on, and a fantastic artist, by the way, and Tin Town. Those will each be 10-page stories each. And then we'll have The Last Ember, which is going to be a preview issue, a 16-pager that kind of dives back into the first half is like a past character, and then it goes into the present for the main character that you just saw on the banner, and possibly tentatively Lisa's Fairy Stories #1, which is all penciled and inked, and some of it's colored, I think. So
Awesome. My book, as everybody knows already, will be part of Wave 2. Oh, Brant, what wave? And I know I don't want to make any, because I know what you're planning. I don't know how much you want to say about it, but when are we going to be seeing the relaunched, rebooted, well, not rebooted, but the relaunch of your book, Wannabes?
tentatively, I'm planning a Kickstarter. I've been planning a Kickstarter for like 2 years now, but I finally kind of settled in on a date, and tentatively we're going to launch that in August of this year. And so if it's successful, it'll hopefully production will be underway in the fall, and we'll have to see when that gets done. If it's not successful, we're still going to bring it back, but it'll probably take a little bit longer. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But we got a fantastic artist. I'm going to butcher his name, but Ewan Nazif. He works on the How to Train Your Dragon comics for I think is it Titan that does those now, or something. I can't remember which company does it, but he's working on those. So yeah, I mean, fantastic artist. He's also the one that drew Lisa's Fairy Stories. So we're really excited about that.
Gotcha. Well, with other stuff, there is going to be other stuff coming from both me and Brant. Brant and I are working on something. I'm not going to spoil that yet. That's probably going to be sometime in the mid to late 2016. There's going to be a story that we're co-writing together. As I mentioned, with my book starts the hashtag The Age of Heroes, which will begin. And there's something deeper to Age of Heroes. But that's something that we're going to be expanding on much later in 2016 as time progresses. And I want my book to at least be at issue, I believe I said 5 or 6. I want the story to progress. I want the universe to blossom slowly and then have that big explosion of what I have planned, or what I mentioned with Brant planned for my universe, so to speak, or my character. I will say it involves everybody on this live show a little bit. I'm not going to tease. That's the big teaser for the moment. But the good news is with my book, with my story, because a lot of people have been asking me, what's going on? You're not telling us anything. You keep saying progress. The good news is, as of last night or the night before, and I celebrated, I wrote Brant and Dan actually and said, I made it to the halfway point. I got through the hardest part in issue 1 for me, because it was a massive rewrite that it was taking me a while to get perfect dialogue for. And I finally did it, perfected it, put a bow on it. Brant's probably going to edit it out later and fix it again anyway. But I put a nice bow on it, and in my opinion, I'm happy enough to move forward with the book finally to the next stage, which is the rest of the book is a little bit of a copy of the original story, just obviously redone a little bit, fixed up. And I actually had a great idea for issue 3 already, which obviously was erased because without saying too much, I've got a good concept for issue 3 now to keep that story going. So I've got really good stories lined up all the way through till late 2016. Hopefully you guys enjoy the book. Hopefully it'll be out by August. That's my target. I'm not sure if I'll make it there. There's Brant. What image is that from?
That's Fairy Stories. That's Lisa's. That's the old version of that page. He actually redrew some of it, but just wanted to show that too. Sorry.
No. Awesome. Definitely. Show whatever you'd like. Absolutely. This is all from Wave 1, so.
Yeah. And Lisa, it's funny. Lisa just informed me that she just finished inking the banner and that she beat me. Because she was like, who's going to get done first, the live show or me inking this banner? So she beat us.
Well, we were talking about it, Lisa, so you can't believe it. So there's my little info on my book. But now I have a question. You, Brant, you, Dan, and me, Chris, all of us are writers, but all writers have a little bit of a how we got started story, so to speak, what brought us in, because a lot of writers, and I've learned this through people I know that loved writing for no apparent reason, honestly, and then hated it. But true writers, real great writers, and I've read your book, Brant, the book that now is being redone, but I read it, and I read Argo 5 from Dan. My real, and this will be a perfect way to wind down the night, and right after I ask the question, I'll show a book before we get into this topic. I thought it'd be an awesome topic because I got both you guys on this live show together. As writers, my question is, how did you guys come into finding out that you like writing? Like, how did you fall into this category of, I love doing this. This is something I want to do. And while you think about that answer, or probably you guys know the answer already, so I'm just going to share Night of the Living Deadpool. This is the final issue, everybody. Code is coming at you, and while I'm showing the code, I'll talk about my way of coming into writing. I hated reading. I hated it completely. And I never cared to write. But for me, this is Night of the Living Deadpool, or Return of the Living Deadpool, issue number 4, final issue. For me, I hated writing until I was given a writing assignment. We had what was known as Author's Day. I don't know if anybody else had that in their schools, but Author's Day was a day where we made our own books. We wrote it and we drew it. And I had no clue what I wanted to write because I hated writing. So I sat down for a while, and then I decided, you know what? Why am I thinking inside the box? Let me think of something outside the box. And I created this character who wasn't even a superhero. He was a ninja, basically. There was a twist to it, and I'm not going to talk about it too much because this is a character that, ironically, it's not the main character of my comic book, but it is a supporting character that will show up later on, so I'm not going to spoil anything about the character. But it was a small story about this ninja. We did it for Author's Day. My book got an award in the classroom, and the teacher really loved it. It was hung up for a while on a special board because it was one of the top 5 books. I don't remember what number it was, and being a kid, you don't care about what number it was. It's just, it was up there. And in my mind, I started writing or making up these. When you're a kid, you play. You like to have an imagination, or at least we did in the 90s. And I used to make up these stories with this character, and I just let it keep going. And it wasn't writing. I wasn't writing anything. I just let my imagination take it away. And then, I believe it was junior high school, going into high school, I started actually putting... I never knew of a specific technique of writing, which was screenplay. I never knew that existed up until that point, because I had never read any book that was written in screenplay form. So for me to write a book, I didn't have it in me to write it the way that I read it in novels or in what are those things called, like Harlequin-sized books. So I never thought I could write. Then I read the book 12 Angry Men. 12 Angry Men, there's 2 versions of it. There's a regular version, but most of it is written in screenplay. I read that, I'm like, this is a book? This is a screenplay. This isn't a book. And then my teacher actually explained that some books are actually written that way, that some writers find it easier to write in screenplay form, to give lines to characters and then have little bubbles that would explain what's going on in the scene. My life at that moment changed forever, because then I realized, oh my God, I can do that. I can write that. And I wrote my first 3 stories, which was a complete copyright of Dragon Ball Z, except certain names were changed. So that was scrapped. After the 3rd story, I was like, I'm copywriting way too much. When I have Kamehameha in almost every other page, yeah, I've copywritten too much.
Yeah, but then you have Argo.
Right. And I scrapped that, and it was the ninja story again. So I scrapped that idea completely, and then 9/11 happened. And that's where I sat down. It was high school. I remember it was my 2nd year in high school, and I was sitting there going, I'm done writing copywritten stuff, but I need something original. I remember I came up with the symbol. I came up with the character name, which, thank God, is now in the present day changed. But at the time, it was a tentative title or a superhero name, which I'm very glad is no longer in existence. and I just went with it. I created a character with special abilities, a special background, mostly completely original stuff, new ideas for a villain, and I just let it go. And after I left high school, you know, with nothing to do, I sat down and I wrote 36 stories. And to this day, I've expanded out of superheroes. I've done several things. I've sent Brant a lot of my outside of superhero work, and Brant found a lot of it interesting. So it does prove that I can write for more than just superheroes, which makes me feel good knowing that I'm not stuck in the hero genre, that I can still write a good book without it involving superheroes. And it just became a passion. Epic story on Brooklyn Boys, skits on Brooklyn Boys, all of that was scripted by myself or me and Michael together. And to this day, my passion has become writing. And that's my background story, the long, long version that has everybody probably sleeping now. So now we start with Brant. So Brant, how did you come into finding out that you like to write, to be a writer?
It's kind of funny because all through my childhood, I thought I was going to be an artist. That was my passion. I drew all the time. Every waking hour, I think I would draw like 14 hours a day when I wasn't in school, and I just absolutely loved it. But I think writing was always a part of something that I did. I remember back in even like grade school, like 4th and 5th grade, I would write a little newsletter of the events of the day, like, such and such won kickball, and I would draw a little picture and stuff and do stupid stuff like that, and I'd try to sell it for a quarter and nobody buy it. But anyway, yeah, it was, when I started getting into comics more seriously, I think I was like 13 when I really started collecting and stuff, and, I just kind of totally immersed in that world, and I was still drawing everything, and I started drawing superheroes, and I was like, well, now these heroes need stories, so I started drawing my own comics in sketch pads, and I would just kind of pencil in dialogue or whatever. I would come up with these loose stories, but I was still more focused on the drawing aspect of it until probably college, and when I went to college, I had actually stopped reading comics for a few years, and I ended up taking I think I took like 3 or 4 different English classes in college, and I had the same teacher throughout every one of those classes. And for whatever reason, she took a shine to me and my writing abilities, and she encouraged me. She said, you are a really good writer. You should pursue this in some way. And it kind of woke me up. It was kind of a wake-up call, saying, oh, wow, this is something I never really considered as something I wanted to do, but the more and more I did it, the more I fell in love with it. And, I started writing a bunch of poetry. I won a couple of awards in college for some poems I wrote. And, I don't know, it just kind of progressed from there. A couple of years later, CrossGen launched, and they had this whole program where you could submit, and they were going to bring writers and artists in the studio and kind of apprentice them into professional creators or whatever, and that got me into script writing mode, and so I started writing comic scripts and sending them in, and nothing ever happened with it, but it kind of woke that passion up in me, and ever since then, I've just kind of taken to that, and I fell in love with writing because of that teacher that saw something in me that made me feel like, this is actually what the thing I'm best at. I was better at writing than I was at any other kind of skill that I had, and it's something that came more natural to me than anything else, and then that passion just kind of grew and grew, and that's kind of the overview kind of journey for me as far as writing goes.
Ironically, in high school we had to do a story, we had to write something, and I actually took an excerpt, and I said to be continued, of course, from one of my books, and I got an A+ on it too, and my teacher actually said the exact same thing. I am really excited to see what happens next. So that's actually interesting how we both have that kind of coinciding thing in our past, except yours was college, mine was high school. But that's interesting. That's really interesting how that happened.
Yeah, it's funny. The English teacher I spoke of, and she's actually, I actually did a special thanks to her in the first issue of Wannabes. But she actually almost got me a job ghostwriting a novel when I was in college, and for whatever reason it didn't work out. but it's just, I don't know. It was her belief in my abilities and my talent or whatever that kind of just really made me realize it. So, thank you, Miss Baker, if you're out there.
All right, Dan, what about you?
Yeah, as with Brant, I had been drawing before I could remember, and yeah, in grade school, I think just making. I wasn't just making I loved comics even in grade school, so I wanted to draw comics. So I made up this Marvel mutt, and he was a character. Made a little comic of him. Uh, I think during grade school, later grades like 6th or 7th grade, yeah, we did like a publishing a book type of assignment where they made a hardcover book. I know with stitching, and then I had some story about the Greek gods fighting the Norse gods, but that was going to destroy the Earth. So somehow me and my classmates all got superpowers and stopped the book was entitled War of the Gods. So did that, wrote stuff in comics throughout high school, graduated college with a degree in exercise science, and found myself writing for muscle magazines at that point. So yeah, there's nationally distributed muscle magazines were my first, writing credits. And, from there, at some point, wanting to fulfill that comic book craving as far as writing is concerned, started, writing the comics and, still drawing to the point where I actually drew Argo 5 #1, but between being a letterer, editor, a publisher, writer, it just became too much to actually draw. So I put that aside so that the books can come out somewhat regularly, and shifted more into just being a writer-editor.
Gotcha. But no, I remember issue 1. I really liked your artwork in issue #1. I thought it was very unique that it was drawn and written by you. The first issue. It shows how dedicated you were to Argo 5 at that time.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I just noticed what I'd like to improve on by now, since I kept drawing and the art's improved. So I'm not that happy looking at it. But, in the upcoming trade, it'll be in there, warts and all. And, I've collaborated with some great artists who I'm very happy to, see their artwork take over.
Well, I watched you at New York Comic Con finding artists. I mean, we found Brian Michael Bendis walking down Artist Alley, but you introduced me to a lot of the artists as we were going down. You had certain artists that were doing pinups for you, artists that you wanted to have pinups done for you. It was an amazing experience. That New York Comic Con, I'm going to admit to everybody, we had a great time. We got lots of interviews. It was fun times. But a lot of the time, after doing all the interviews and whatnot, you don't want to be on the main floor. There's way too many people on the main floor, especially during the peak hours, so to speak. So we spent a lot of time in Artist Alley. I spent a lot of time at Dan's booth, and we were talking. We went around meeting some of the artists and whatnot. Artist Alley, especially I guess for creators, it's a gold mine of just talking with other creators, other artists, and it was a lot more fun in my opinion. But for people who are fans of the books, obviously the main floor is the biggest because that's where all the main stuff is going on. But and we were there. We covered the main floor also. But I think I had the most fun in Artist Alley, and that's why I think Special Edition was really fun also, was because it was mainly the stuff that you would see at Artist Alley, not all the big fancy stuff that you see on the main floor in New York Comic Con. Not saying it's bad. New York Comic Con's main floor is amazing, spectacular. I would definitely recommend walking it at least 2 or 3 times. But Artist Alley, just for me, that's what really makes New York Comic Con and what made Special Edition so special. I'm really looking forward to it this year also. But yeah, we all have our special stories. Now, Mike, you're not a writer. Now this is the logic Michael says, because me and his girlfriend were fighting him about this.
Come on, no.
Mike says he's not a writer, correct? But he wrote Punisher X. He wrote an episode for each season of Epic Story, but he's not a writer. Now, two writers are right here. If Michael scripted episodes, dialogue and all, does that not make him a writer?
You would think he is a writer. Does he write his own Cornholio?
He does his own Cornholio skits. I don't write those.
So that would, yeah. You would think he'd be a writer.
I would agree.
I say this because I've wanted Mike to write his character that I invented, that I wrote in my book for years. But he won't do it because he's not a writer. Yet he writes his own character on Epic Story, which is the same character!
That the last one I drew?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay.
That's his character, which he refuses to write. It would be an amazing solo series, but he refuses to write it because he's not a writer.
Maybe if it was co-written by Ellie. A project for them to do together.
You know,
There you
a lot of husband and wives do amazing work with
Like
comic
the
books.
Finches.
Like the Finches.
And the Dodsons.
And the Dots, yes, that's right, and the Dotsons. See? Now you got Brant and Dan, both writers, saying that if you did that, then you are technically under the term of a writer. Now what? I put it out live. Everybody in the comments. Everybody in the comments. Hashtag Mike, write your own, write your character. Don't like, well, that's a long hashtag. Mike, write your character. There you go. Hashtag it. Do your character.
I'm just waiting for your books to do well, and then you and Mike will be doing that millions of dollars.
I like the other guys better. The
Money.
Yeah. Money.
Crime time.
I saw them in Staten Island like last year.
Oh, you
Really?
did?
Yep.
Oh,
Live wrestling event. Outdoors live wrestling. Crime Time was
Right.
there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they had a few people. Rhino and I forget that guy who was a teacher.
Oh,
Matt Striker.
Oh,
Matt
Matt
Striker.
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 Yeah.
He was there. Yep, and the Blue Meanie. They were all there at this event. And Rosita. Muy bien.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. Wow, we gotta get to Staten Island more.
Yeah,
we
we do.
seriously need
Yeah,
to
you
get to Staten Island more. We gotta get over a bridge, though.
I saw a flyer in the laundromat, and I was like, wow, that looks pretty cool. And I went there and watched it.
Awesome.
That is spectacular. I love how we all have that little connection to wrestling. I might not watch it as much, but he and my father do, so I hear it. So I'm listening to what's going on. And I hate Seth Rollins as much as everybody, probably. And I can't stand John Cena.
And I'm getting sick and tired of, well, it's best for business. Okay, we get the point. You know.
Yeah, that's getting old. Yeah.
It gets annoying.
I miss
I'm
Vince.
sorry.
I'm sorry. I wish Vince McMahon would
Oh,
come
wait.
back.
Oh, you mean the walking around like this?
Yeah.
It's like
Michael actually did a skit where he walked like he did a skit where he was
the
Vince
Michael's
McMahon.
mad while I was walking out like this.
Mike's got the Vince McMahon stride.
Well, there was also someone else who came out like this.
Well, they're the two brothers from
Bushwick.
Australia.
Yeah.
Bushwick.
None of those people that came out, so it was kind of a mixed combination.
So everybody hashtag below before I lose out on the comments. Everybody hashtag below Mike hashtag do it or do your book. That's 3 words. You can
Write your book.
Do your book.
Or write
He
your
could
book.
pay for his own artist, and he could get his character done the right way, because I can't write him all the time. Unless I lie, which is what I did in all 36 stories. I lied.
Okay.
I made him look better than he should
Okay,
have.
we can move on. Thank you.
I actually made him look heroic. All right. Let's talk about the last code. Brant, you read Secret Wars issue 1, right?
Yes.
Oh, good. Dan, are you planning on? Oh, shoot! Before we get into Secret Wars #1, I had a question last week or this past haul video, and I wanted to cover it here. The question was what books we were planning on getting next week for Secret Wars. Somebody had asked that.
Didn't you want to do?
Now, Dan, I know you're trade paperbacking a lot, so I can't ask you what books you'll be getting, but I could ask you what books you're interested in through the description. Now, I wanted to do this before we went into any talk. Brant, do you have the list up for the books coming out for Secret Wars? Getting it? Okay.
I'm looking for it, yeah.
See, in DC, I actually ordered a lot of individual issues because I didn't know if the trade paperback would just be like Convergence, and then I would get a lot that I don't want and some that I do want. So I know that I ordered Superman, Justice League, because Chris Cross was drawing that version with Justice League Detroit, Flash because of Tom Grummett. So I ordered here and there. So I do have single issues coming to me, except that I'm just like down to monthly shipping. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. But with Marvel, I know you said you were going to be doing a trade paperback.
Yeah, Marvel mostly trade. Yeah, I mean, I haven't picked up any Star Wars stuff, even though I love, a lot of the artists who are on that. So I'm waiting for the trades on those.
Right. I'm just going to... I'll mention the stories, though, and then you can tell me if you're planning on trade paperbacking it instead. Now, a lot of people know... I just want to give a little background on it. A lot of people know that I was very adamant about getting anything connected to Secret Wars. And honestly, now that things have calmed down, I think it was the mix between Convergence and I thought, until Brant actually told me, that when Secret Wars happened, I thought that we were still going to be getting the main stories as well as stories from Battle World. So I thought that Marvel was basically going to over-explode with books. So, for example, we'd still be getting Amazing Spider-Man along with all of the Secret Wars books, when in fact, Marvel's canceling almost all of their monthly series, and everything is going to be basically connected to Secret Wars. With that, that takes a lot of books away and makes it easier and more accessible for myself and Michael to jump in on new series, because I thought we were just going to get clobbered with tons of books, which there are still a lot of books, but not as many because it's not with the other monthlies. The other monthlies are put on pause, which is a really good thing, and it saves money. Now, my other gripe was that the first issues for a lot of these were $5.
Mm-hmm.
But, especially after being let down with Convergence, I have high hopes for Secret Wars, especially after reading issue 1, which we'll talk about in a minute. So after reading issue 1 and going into Midtown's pre-order for next week, I went in, as Mike Spiderslayer says, with a very open mind. So, Brent, you have them in alphabetical order, so I actually have it up too. So do you want to start with the first couple of titles, and then we'll go from there?
Sure. The first one's A-Force, #1, which is the all-female Avengers team, or whatever. And Deadpool's Secret Wars, #1. It's the first two.
Okay. So let's go 2 by 2.
All right. Okay.
And I'm going to start with you, Brant. What is your thoughts on both of those books? Are you planning to get them both books? No. A-Force is a $3.99 book, and this Deadpool book is a $5 first issue.
Right. Deadpool stuff, I'm so kind of iffy on it. That's one of the books. Anything with Deadpool, I have to wait until I hear, feedback about it, because it's so hit and miss for me. But A-Force, because it's the whole female team, that's kind of appealing to me. I want to check it out.
Gotcha. Dan, what about you? Do either of these books interest you as far as trade paperback or story in general?
Yeah, it's really going to come down to the artist. I mean, I'm not an Aquaman fan, but I was picking it up because it's Paul Pelletier. A-Force sounds like a good one.
George Molina. George Molina's A-Force.
Who's doing it?
George Molina.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's decent enough so that I could check it out. Deadpool, I'm not such a big fan of. I mean, I had picked it up when they had, the right artist on it. Liefeld, Merritt Michaels, Paco Medina. It's not a character I prefer to buy, but, I haven't bought it in a long while, though. So there hasn't been anyone on it that I was a big fan of.
Gotcha. All right, I'm going to take the next two. The next two, I know one Michael's definitely going to be... Oh, as far as us, A-Force, I want to test that out digitally first. So I'm going to be reading A-Force digitally the first issue. If I like it, I'll go back and get a physical copy and go to issue 2. Deadpool, we did get a physical copy because Michael was a fan of certain Deadpool stories. So Mike's going to be trying Deadpool out. So that's really all we have right now. We're going to try it. The next 2 are Masters. I'm not going to count Loki, Agent of Asgard, number 4. I'm counting just the number 1.
Yeah,
so
right.
the rest of the stuff, whatever we've been getting, we'll be getting. Next, we have Masters of Kung Fu, issue number 1.
Oh, okay.
And Planet Hulk, issue number 1. And since we did it, I'll start with us. I'll work backwards this time. Masters of Kung Fu, Michael got to try out. It's a $3.99 book, so that's why Mike jumped on that. Planet Hulk, initially I wasn't going to do, but since it's only the first issue that's $4.99, I decided to give it a shot. The book that you get for free that shows the artwork in the book, like the preview, really sold me on the book. The artwork for Planet Hulk is done by Mark Lamy. And
yeah,
it looks really good. The artwork for Masters of Kung Fu is done by Delabor Telejic? I don't know. But we're getting both of those. I'm trying out Hulk. Mike's going to be doing Masters of Kung Fu because he enjoyed the miniseries. Dan, do either of these interest you?
Nah, I could pass on those. That's
Gotcha.
just me. I've been getting Hulk, the recent series in trade.
Mark Waid.
Yeah, Mark Waid, exactly. And I've been getting that in trades, so that might be my jumping off point.
Gotcha. Brant?
Planet Hulk, definitely. I don't know how much it's going to tie into like the original Planet Hulk, but I love that story, so I definitely want to try this one out as well.
Gotcha.
And I know I've heard great things about the current Hulk series, but I fell off of it after a couple issues for whatever reason.
Okay. So you want to take...
Oh, sorry. Yeah, as far as Master of Kung Fu, kind of iffy on that one.
I figured you wouldn't be interested.
Maybe, I'll see what Michael says about it. All right, next 2 are Secret Wars Battle World number 1. I think that's a 4-issue miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
And Spider-Verse number 1, which is another $5 book.
Isn't Battle World 5? No, Battle World is $3.99. Okay.
Right.
So you're starting, Brant.
Oh, sorry. Trying to find the description for Battle World. I've lost it on my screen here. Spider-Verse, definitely. I mean, I'm a Spider-Man fan. Anything with a Spider-Man family, I'm gonna try out. Battle World, that's kind of like it's kind of like little short stories, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Battle World and Journal are supposed to be companions to the main Secret Wars.
Right. Yeah, this first one is a Doctor Strange possessed. No, Punisher is possessed by Doctor Strange or something like that. It's really weird. I'll probably skip that first issue, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
But that said, Josh Williamson, who writes Birthright, is one of the 2 writers on this book. So that kind of gives me a little bit of pause because I love Birthright. So.
Dan, either of these interest you?
Yeah, again, I don't know if Battle World's drawn by McNiven or something, so then I get it.
It's Mike Henderson and Scott Hepburn.
Yeah, I can pass on that.
Okay.
And then who else?
Spider-Verse is written by Mike Costa with art by Andre Araujo.
Yeah, I'm not familiar, so I might have to just look up some preview art and then, go from there. I mean, without a comic store, I used to just flip through everything.
Exactly what I
would not know the names. I would look at stuff, wow, I like this, and pick it up. Now I don't have that, and I got to kind of search for the artist online, see what it looks like, and, if I like it, then I know I can make the purchase.
Right.
I agree. I used to do the same thing. For us, we're getting both. Spider-Verse, I'm giving a shot to. 1 shot. The reason I also got it was because after the first issue, it goes down to $3.99 also. The fact that all the books that are $5 are going down to $3.99 helped, because it's like, okay, I'll buy the first issue, I'll try it. If I don't like it, whatever. If I do like it, at least I don't have to worry about a $5 price tag. It'll be down to at least $3.99. Battle World reminds me of AVX when Avengers versus X-Men was going on. It looks like it's going to be kind of like that, where you get like these short stories in it. Journal sounds more like Frontline, like Marvel Frontline was when Civil War was going on. So you got a Frontline kind of book, and you've got a versus AVX kind of book going on. Mike's probably going to cover Battle World because it has Doctor Strange possessing the Punisher. I'll probably be covering Spider-Verse. With Battle World, again, since we covered everything with Convergence, I don't see any reason why we can't just grab the 4 issues of Battle World and the 4 issues of Journal just to have the companions. But, I mean, it would have to be really horrible for us not to buy the rest of a 4-issue miniseries, you know?
I like the concept for Spider-Verse, so I did pick up the trade of the first one. So if the art is good, then I'd be on board. But
yeah, I think it's actually springboarding right out of the events of Spider-Verse. Certain characters that were that jumped away. Actually, I believe it was Spider-Brit is actually going to be like the leader, and it's going to be a bunch of Spider-Men that were kind of lost in the multiverse of Spider-Man or the web.
It's got Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man India, Mayday Parker, and Spider UK and Spider-Ham.
Mm-hmm. So it's got all like the big characters from Spider-Verse outside of Peter Parker.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
I think that book and Planet Hulk are the most interesting ones from this week for me, and this one. The next two, Ultimate End, issue number 1. It's a $3.99 book, and I actually believe that's the last one for this week. Yes, it is. Ultimate End. I got the variant Mark Bagley Spider-Man cover just because I love the original Ultimate Spider-Man cover. So I didn't get the original cover. I had to get the Spider-Man one. But I'm really excited because this is the end. This is the official end to the Ultimate Universe, possibly forever. And Miles Morales either will be put in the 616 or he'll be eliminated with the rest of the Ultimate Universe. This is interesting. And in Secret Wars 1, if you read it, the last 2 Earths that collided were the 616 and the Ultimate Universe. Maybe only one world will survive at the end of Secret Wars, and that world will obviously be the 616. I can't see a reason why the Ultimate Universe would survive unless Marvel's pulling a DC. But I just think I'm really excited because this is quite possibly the end of the Ultimate U. And Mark Bagley's writing it, and Brian Michael Bendis is ending the universe he created so many years ago. So I'm definitely on board for this entire series. Absolute. All right, going backwards now. Dan, what about you?
Yeah, I've been picking up Ultimate Spider-Man in the trade, so I will be picking it up. I'll be picking it up, I guess. You know, as long as Miles has been good. They had a lot of Sarah Pacelli, Dave Marquez. They've had a lot of good artists on that book, so I'm down for it. But you know, this can't be the end for me. No.
I don't think Miles is going anywhere. I think he'd fit in perfectly with the 616. So I hope they at least keep the character going.
Well, Free Comic Book Day, they had that group of all the hot characters now, right? The Miss Marvel.
I think so. I believe so.
Yeah, they have Nova, Miss Marvel, Ultimate Spider-Man, all on some team.
Yeah, they all knew all different Avengers or whatever it was. Yeah,
all knew all different, more profitable Avengers.
Yeah.
Well, Brant, I don't think I have to ask you because I know you're going to be definitely covering this book, and I know you're a huge fan. But I guess you're definitely getting the Ultimate End also.
Bendis, Bagley, Ultimate Spider-Man, enough said. That's all you get.
Exactly. All right, I was gonna check the comments, but you know what? Let's talk about Secret Wars number 1, and then I'm gonna check the comments one more time before we go. We'll cover that next time. I'm gonna do a haul video on Comic Frontline probably tomorrow when I do my haul video for this channel when we actually get our books, and we'll be doing our Free Comic Book Day haul. Obviously, this live show started late, ending late, so we'll probably do the haul video tomorrow. So, Secret Wars issue number 1. While I show the code, Brant, what are your thoughts on this first issue of Secret Wars?
Honestly, I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the issue. I know you either loved it or hated it, kind of thing, I think, with this book. But it was like action-packed, and you had the Ultimate Universe battling it out with the 616 for survival. They're the last two, like you mentioned earlier, left in this incursion thing going on through the Avengers books, which I hadn't read any of that leading up to this. So I wasn't steeped with all of that information, but at the same time, I still felt like I got enough in this book to grasp what was going on, and you had a lot of great character moments in the midst of these battles and everything. You had something very drastic happen with the Fantastic Four family and various characters, and you had the villains of the 616 helping out Reed Richards over on the Ultimate side. There's a lot to take in with the book, but I thought it was fantastic, especially comparing it up against the Convergence main series. It just kind of skyrocketed. Yeah, it kind of skyrocketed my enjoyment of this book, and it kind of got me very curious to see where things go from here.
Personally, after reading this book, this is the book that made me say, you know what? Maybe Convergence wasn't good. This has promise. The best page, though, the page that says it all, was the tombstone.
Yeah.
Marvel Universe, 1961 and 2015. Ultimate Universe, 2000 and 2015. That's the end, ladies and gentlemen. They both are collided. They both are dead. What happens next? Issue 2 will tell us. And the good news is issue 2 came out this Wednesday, so we didn't get ours yet, but I'm sure everybody else who gets their books on Wednesdays, like normal people, already read it, so they know what comes next. But after being very disappointed with Convergence and believing that this was going to be an overwhelming event plus the main books, and being proven wrong that it's just going to be this event and its books for the next 4 months, and it's not a year-long event, it's only a 4-month-long event. And then we get this new, coming in the fall, kind of like 8 months later kind of deal. I'm definitely interested, and Marvel definitely got me reinterested in this event that I was worried was going to be too overpowering and too much, especially with Convergence. Convergence, initially, in a nice way, but in a blunt way, failed as far as an event that people cared about, in my opinion, and failed as far as an event itself, because I don't feel like any of this is going to matter to anybody but the Earth 2 superheroes at the end of the day. Secret Wars feels like it's something that's going to rock the Marvel universe to its core. Renew Your Vows is going to rock some type of core to Spider-Man when all is said and done, and we go back to whatever norm we get after Secret Wars. I think Secret Wars, this could be the Marvel event we've wanted, where we're going to actually enjoy it more. This could be that event that we haven't gotten in so many years. The event we were hoping for with AVX that we didn't get. The event we were hoping for with Siege, and not Siege, Axis, and we didn't get. This could be what we've been waiting for. And there are a lot of really great tie-ins to it. And when you sit back and actually think about it and say, you know what, there really aren't that many books. It's the regular amount of Marvel books. It's just pick and choose which titles you like the most. This could be a really great 4-month event, in my opinion. Dan, are you going to be pursuing Secret Wars? It has Alex Ross doing the cover art. I wish he was doing the interior.
Well, for me, with this event, Marvel loses its advantage over DC in the fact that with Marvel, everything that had happened, and it was consistent. So now, as with the New 52, we're reshuffling the universe. Certain things happened, certain things didn't, I think. I can't really say that it's the event that I've been waiting for, just being that, again, you have a tombstone there of, what I invested, I guess, 40 years of comic reading or something. So,
It could be more symbolism.
I'm on August now. So they get McNiven to draw whoever they're going to get him to draw. Art Adams, Mike McCone, Tom Rainey. You put these guys on books, I'm buying the books. I'm not going to be that crazed about any of the stories from what I've seen. So at least I have art that I enjoy. Hopefully it'll be stories I enjoy. And, if not,
I feel like they did the Tombstone, but I don't feel like they're going to destroy anything. I feel like they just did that to make an impact with a first issue. I don't think they'll go the route where DC literally rebooted everything. I feel like they'll go back to the Marvel U we had, but with the ramifications of what has happened on Battle World and throughout Secret Wars. Brant?
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's if you're going to compare this to anything, you have to compare it to the original Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yes.
Because basically this is a colliding of their multiverse, making it one single universe, one single Earth, and kind of doing away with all that other stuff that surrounded it that we knew of. All this different stuff that took place on a different Earth or a different reality or whatever. All that stuff is going to be gone. Even if we do go back to the status quo on the 616, and you fold in some of those elements like Miles Morales or whatever, you're still kind of erasing part of that major history. And, I don't know how I feel about that just yet.
Well, let me tell you, from a DC erased point of view, it sucks. So if they're doing a Flashpoint, by the end of this event, you are going to feel the suck that we felt, that Dan and I felt.
I know that. Yeah, I know that.
Let's hope they don't do DC's mistake.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's more of a Crisis kind of thing that they're going for. They're bringing in the best elements of these other things into one singular universe. I think that's kind of what they're doing.
Gotcha. So hopefully it won't erase too much, and we'll still at least have the characters that we recognize, the iconic characters that we know and we've grown to love, since the day they were created, not some type of perverted, minus Trunks, weird, edgy, new universe created by Dan Didio, Jim Lee, and Jeff Johns.
I don't think Marvel has ever been as reliant on the multiverse type of ideals that DC had. I mean, they did have the Ultimate Universe. That was a major player. Maybe you had the Earth that the Squadron Supreme came out of or something. But for the most part, Marvel kind of stuck with one Earth, where DC had, Earth S with the Shazam characters, and Earth 2 was always a big part, and then they had the Crime Syndicate Earth. So their whole Crisis on Infinite Earths, bringing it all together, they obviously they went back with, bringing that Crime Syndicate back from another Earth. They couldn't even hold on to that. But again, for Marvel, it doesn't seem quite as necessary for them to try to do that. But again, I think to some degree that New 52 money came in when they relaunched, and stockholders saying, where can we make some of that dough? And they're like scrambling for how we can redo that.
Yeah, they realized just starting at new number ones wasn't doing enough. All New Marvel Now was okay, but it wasn't lasting.
They needed the reboot feel to it also.
Yeah.
That's true. Marvel's trying, and that's why if you're a fan of just the big two, this is the worst time period for you. I would recommend now more than ever Image, IDW, Dark Horse, Zenescope especially because they got excellent books and they stick to their universe, Archie Comics. You name any indie company out there. Image is the playground for amazing stories. IDW has Turtles, has the recognizable cartoons and franchises like X-Files. Dark Horse has Angel and Faith, has Buffy, has really good Alien and Predator stories, really good stories in general. Zenescope, like I said, they have their universe going on, and they're not rebooting, they're just moving forward with their universe, which is what any real creators do. Even if they don't like something in the past, they either have their characters forget it and move on, or you just don't acknowledge that point in time and you just keep moving forward. That's great writing at its best. You got Archie, like I said, they got the Archie books, you got Sonic, Mega Man, what have you.
In the world,
What? Yes, the World Unite's coming. Image, you got Walking Dead, Invincible. Brant mentioned Invincible before. You got Skull Kickers. I forgot what company does Skull Kickers, though, Dan.
It's
Their Image as well.
Oh, they are Image. Okay, I was right.
Yeah, that's coming to an end.
Yeah, Hellboy from Dark Horse.
John Carter.
Dynamite! Oh my God! How can I forget Dynamite? Dynamite
Valiant.
is like a pulp hero world. What, Brent?
Valiant.
He said Valiant.
Valiant came back. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Valiant,
that's
Exo Man of War. That's right. Exo and Unity. You got excellent books out there in the indie companies just waiting for you to read. And these companies are welcoming. $2.99. There are some companies that charge $3.99, but they give you bang for your buck. They really do. These indie books are really great reads.
I like Antarctic Press, actually.
Yeah.
Antarctic Press, that's right. There's Antarctic Press. I remember Antarctic
And
Press.
also, we can't forget Argo Comics.
Argo Comics. Yeah, that's right. Dan's company. You can't forget Last Ember Press, which is coming soon. You can't forget Assailing Comics also. Devil's Due, which is where Dirk Manning books come out of. So you got lots of amazing companies out there just begging for you to try their books out. And I, as a person who really was not reading a lot of indie books until I started the indie review, I gotta say, I fell in love with a lot of stuff. I mean, I met Dan at New York Comic Con. He gave me one of his books, fell in love with Argo 5. Walking Dead. Brant only made one Wannabes book, you jerk. You got Saga. You got Invincible, Chew, Mike Spider Slayer. I don't know how I fell in love with Chew, but I fell in love with Chew. The Turtles, TMNT. Excellent run going on right now on IDW. Transformers, if it wasn't so wordy, it would be really good. G.I. Joe. I'm sorry, but Transformers was good until the word bubbles took over the comic and the action took over nothing. So I gave up on Transformers. But there's so many good things out there. Am I missing anything? Guys, I know you read a lot of books. Tell me if I'm missing something.
Oh, there's so much. Birthright, I mentioned earlier. That's a fantastic book. How could you forget Birthright?
Love and Rockets has a very big catalog of material.
Yeah.
Love and Rockets is one of my all-time favorites, so I have to say that. Actually, Skull Kickers has come to an end, and that writer is doing Wayward for Image as well. So I've started reading that also. So
The Sixth Gun from Oni Press is a really good one. Oni Press does some great stuff.
Have either of you read John Carter, Warlord of Mars from Dynamite? Artwork and story is amazing in that book.
Yeah, I read like the first 2 or 3 issues so far. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
actually, that artist, Raphael Angelis, did Argo 5.
I thought
I saw that artwork before.
I know,
Yeah,
it's so familiar.
He did number 8 for us before he worked for them. So, and he had some other pages in another upcoming issue. So he's a great guy.
That's why we recognize the artwork in John Carter.
I was saying, where have I seen this before? And I was stumbling around, like saying, where have I seen it? Where have I seen it?
Oh no, I got lazy. I'm like, I saw this before somewhere, and it was good.
No, I was literally pacing back and forth in this room, saying, where did I see it? Where was it from? And Dan just answered it for me.
Yeah, Argo 5 number 8, I think, and number either 12 or 13 he did work in.
I think
It might be 13, because I think we have 12 or 13. We have 11.
That's 11. That's 12.
Okay, we have 12.
That's 11. So
Both are
that's
11?
2 covers.
Which one is this? We have... No, 13. Here we got 13 also.
I think it was 13. I thought it was 12.
What was the guy's name again? I'm sorry?
Raphael Angelis.
Yep. Len Ellis. Number 13.
Okay. 13, he did some, yeah. So now he went on to, he did John Carter, and he also did Evil Ernie.
I read Ernie.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, he's a great artist.
I
Phenomenal.
would recommend it, guys. Go to your indies. Go to your indies list. If you're tired of events, if you're tired of reboots and craziness, if you need a break, stay with Marvel and DC. But check out the indies to keep you loving comic books. And with that, I'm going to go back to the comments now before we round out the night. So if your comments were not heard here, we will answer your guys' comments in the comments below. I answered a few. I know Dan popped back and answered a few because I saw he replied to one of my comments to somebody else. So we always come back and answer your guys' comments if we didn't answer them during the show. I think we answered this, but I'll ask it anyway because Jeremy kind of answered it 10 minutes ago. What is your guys' opinion of Miles Morales being in 616 universe? Because in my opinion, I don't think putting Miles Morales in 616 universe is a good idea. Why? Because that takes away everything from his character. To destroy his entire universe is not a good idea. Period. Don't put Miles in 616 universe. It's a horrible idea. Basically the same thing over and over again. That's what Brant basically just said. You erase a piece of the character's history by moving them somewhere else instead. So we agree with you, Tevye. And Jeremy actually answered and said, I agree. Ultimate was supposed to be unique in regards to superheroes are basically menaces to society and Earth where we're being ravaged by gangs and mafia. Basically, the Ultimate Universe was supposed to be different from the Marvel Universe. It was supposed to be an opposite or a different, more edgy universe, kind of like what DC's doing. And then you had the regular Marvel Universe, too. Tevye says, I hate Parker Industries, and I'm glad it burned to the ground. I agree. And finally, we don't deal with this BS anymore. F Parker Industries, F Anna Marie, and F that company. I want it to go away.
Wow.
I agree. Wow.
Tevye, do you not like Parker Industries? I'm getting kind of feeling that you must be
I'm getting that vibe.
the whole
Right?
Amazing Spider-Man run that's going on right now. I don't know what it is. I don't think you're a fan. I could be reading too much into things.
You. Oh, and Tevye did hashtag Mike, do your book. So we do have one hashtag so far. So that's one hashtag.
I have to mention Justin Paget said double dribble was awesome. I agree.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was just up to that. Okay, looking over that one then. Tevye said again, I hate Earth 2 characters. I want them away, in my opinion. They will be very soon. When Apocalypse Finley came, that's when went down. But also when they gave this Earth Superman and Batman, it was supposed to be about Earth where their Trinity died and the next generation of heroes take over so other characters could shine like Dr. Fate, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, Jay Garrick, Power Girl, Huntress, etc. And then Double Dribble. There was actually an answer. Tevye actually said, anyone remember Time Crisis? I played it. I love that game. And Justin said, yup, good game. And then Tevye said, agreed. I remember all 3 games. Good times. Agree. We have Time Crisis 2 still for the PlayStation 2. Scotty Showman says he's a writer. You're a writer. Jeremy says, have you been reading Gotham by Midnight? It's a great comic and art style matches the tone of the book. If not, I recommend you give it the first 5 issues a try. You might like it. Anybody reading that?
I tried the first issue. I do not like the art style personally, so I couldn't get behind it. I'm not a fan of that artist. So.
Dan, I saw you shaking your head no. We'll have to see for now. And then we got Scotty Showman said, Mike, do your book or you're fired. I love that. Jeremy, Chris, and Mike, I asked Comic Frontline this question, but since you're here, what if Mike Spider-Slayer went evil with Lantern Ring and decided to rob comic book stores? Now you have power of your favorite superhero. How would you go about stopping him? If I have the powers of the character I created, it'll be super easy.
Just throw shields.
No, I wouldn't have to throw a shield with my superhero, with my character.
I know, but you're Captain America shield. I'm like saying,
I
Chris,
break the
use
rings.
this.
But I don't know if I'd stop Mike. I would try to. My character isn't about the violence as much as, since Mike is human, and my character, the main villains are evil entities and demons. As a human being, I would try to talk him out of doing it without having to fight him. The only way I would fight Mike Spider-Slayer as a villain would be if he gave me no other choice, like Superman used to do. So that would be me. What about you?
I would agree with that, but then it's like saying, well, there's no sense, so I'll throw shield to the head.
All right, Brant, I'm guessing you answered this on the Tuesday live show?
I did. Basically, I just said I would use telepathy, and I would just convince him to go ahead and steal them, but give them all to me. So.
Dan, what would you do?
I would switch Peter Parker's brain with Dr. Octopus. That would send any Peter Parker fan completely mental, and he'd just go unconscious.
Oh my god.
There you go.
Perfect.
Dan wins.
Dan won. Okay. Goblin King, you're forgetting Valiant and Boom. Thank you. We forgot Boom Studios. We read Boom Studios also. Feathers and everything.
Absolutely.
You know, again, thank you,
yeah.
Goblin King, by the way. But there are so many indie companies out there that it's hard to name them all because there's so many, and there's so many good books. If you watch any of our indie reviews, we cover at least 1 or 2 books from every single company. It's rare that we have a week where we don't touch on something from any one of the companies. We've touched all the companies we touch on. Image, IDW, Boom, everybody. Valiant especially. We read a lot. Mike reads a lot of Valiant. I love EXO. So you're right, Goblin King. There's just a lot. The list is very long for indies, and we love them all. Honestly, we do. Jeremy, when do you think we will get some like Jeff Johns back on Superman? Loved his run. Made him what people used to love about him. One trying to inspire hope, lead mankind to better ways, showing we can't take the easy way out. But if everyone lent a helping hand, world could change for better over time. I agree. We need that. We're not getting that. We're getting something completely different, and that's what is doing a disservice more than a service to Superman. Goblin King also said, I have to agree, Deadpool can be iffy. Cullen Bunn is writing the new mini, and I'm not a big fan of his work. Although I looked at the previews, which I did, and this is why I said yes, and they look great. That's why I got it too. Exactly, Goblin King.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cullen.
Yeah. What did you say, Brant?
I was just gonna say, Cullen Bunn is really good on certain things. Like he does Sixth Gun for Oni. That's his book, and he's fantastic with that. But some of the stuff that he's done for Marvel, it's kind of hit and miss too. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully this will be a hit. Scotty Shulman, that's so cool having people believe in you to give you that extra push to follow your dreams. Great writing stories, creative stuff rules. So that, I guess, was when we were talking about the writing stuff. Jeremy, since multiversity is completely... I love all these comments, guys. You guys are amazing tonight. I'm just going down the list, and it keeps going. I love... This is what I love. This is what the live shows were about. And I know we only have 3 viewers right now. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably gone to bed and you're watching this off live. I really hope you come back because we're answering all your comments right now. So if you're watching this not live, I love this. Do this every time we do Dark Avenger Live. I love this is the whole point of it. Multiversity is completely done. What are your overall thoughts? Morrison said, ultimate statement for DC, loved how he made these old stories and Elseworld canon and gave them a place in multiverse so they could never be forgotten. What are your thoughts about it? I stopped reading Multiversity. Brant, did you stop? I don't know if you stopped.
I never finished it. I want to get back to it because I did enjoy what I read. But yeah, no, I agree overall from what I did read. I did appreciate that as well.
Dan, are you reading Multiversity?
Yeah, I picked them up. I didn't read them all, but what I read, I did enjoy. Very good stuff.
Yeah, we unfortunately dropped it.
I like seeing Captain Marvel back to where he was. I always liked the character Ultra, who was the only superhero on Earth Prime. So I liked, that whole thing, bringing him back a little bit. So, yeah, it's good stuff.
Awesome. Maybe we'll get that in trade at some point. Scotty said, I remember Double Dribble. We talked about this. Our favorite and least favorite Convergence tie-ins. My least favorite from this week. I had a least favorite from this week. I had favorites and average. Did you have a least favorite? I don't think you did.
For now, I could say Swamp Thing was the least.
Well, that's this week's book, not last week.
Oh, well then I gotta get my books. I thought he meant in general so far.
And then Scotty says, love the wrestling talk. Sad to see D. Bryan go.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan, because he's all about the yes.
Yeah, well, he went because he hurt himself, right? Oh no, he has the tumor.
The MRI. No, the MRI he went over when.
All right.
I think it was MRI.
Somebody had. All right, maybe
I
I'm wrong.
can't-
I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Nobody quote me. So that's all of the comments that I see. Tevye, you sent such big questions. I apologize. We answered all the ones that I feel like we didn't talk about on the live show already. But anyway, that's going to wrap us up this week. This was a pretty long live show this week, but that's because you guys left excellent comments, lots of stuff that gave us a lot to talk about. I mean, I wasn't even planning to talk about Falcon and Crossbones, and Tim, you brought that up. That was an excellent subject. A lot of the questions were excellent questions. Guys, I love it. I love it. That's what this live show is about. And next, wait. Yes, next week's okay. Next week's supposed to be Hall of Toys in the middle of the week, unless my stuff doesn't come. Right, Brant? Is next week Hall of Toys? It's the second to last week.
Honestly.
I'm sorry?
I don't remember, honestly. I have to look back at schedules and stuff. It threw me off because we missed it, and then we didn't do hit points either. I'm totally...
Yeah, we had a little bit of a hiccup last month, guys. That's why there was no hit points or Hall of Toys. Hall of Toys will be this month. We're probably going to be doing it bi-monthly for now, since it's hard to grab toys right now for us. I definitely want to do it now. We got lots of new stuff to talk about.
With I was just going to say, with hit points, with E3 coming up, we're definitely going to be doing hit points soon.
Yeah, well, hit points, we actually have a couple of things to talk about now.
Right.
So we'll definitely be doing May's. So May will definitely have hit points. But I believe there should be a Dark Avenger live next Friday. I don't see a reason why there wouldn't be unless Hall of Toys takes over that Friday slot. If so, keep an eye on my Twitter, and also keep an eye on Zone 4 Podcast Twitter. That'll take, because I think we also have Zone 4 next week, Brent, and sometimes we do it on Friday. Right. Believe me, if we do Zone 4 and it's a live show, we'll have a good time. But I believe we're going to go back to the audio format. I believe, right?
Yeah, so, at least for the time being, yeah.
Okay, so if we're doing Zone 4 this Friday, unfortunately there won't be a Dark Avenger live unless we. No, even if we do it early, I get home. I don't know what will happen. Hopefully there'll be a Dark Avenger live. If not, the following week there will be, because the following week, I believe, for Zone 4, it's just hit points, and that's audio, and Brent and I usually do that on a not Friday. So, Dan, hopefully, I'm not sure if you're 4 on and 4... I think you're going to go into your 4 off now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right now I'm off, so yeah, it'll all depend. I mean, if you do end up with a Hall of Toys, I have quite a few things to... bring up for that. So,
Oh, you didn't get it! You didn't get it! You got that? Seriously?
Yeah. So, I do have a number of toys that I've been holding off on. Who knows? I could build a figure or something during the show.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
Characters, yeah, I got stuff, that I've held off making a video because I thought we were going to maybe do Hall of Toys last week, but but yeah,
you're giving me incentive to tell Brent, let's do it next Friday, just so that we can see all the stuff we got. So keep tuned in, because if Dan got a lot of really good stuff, we're probably going to do Hall of Toys next Friday, because I want to see what Dan got. He got the one thing that I turned down when I was on Maddie.com this week. I know what's in that box. I want it. What? It's the Ghostbusters figure.
Oh.
I know what you got in there. I want them.
You sure? I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. It could be something else, but if you got those, I want them. At least 3 of them, because I have one.
We'll have to see what it is. They have to tune in.
They'll have to tune in to find out what it really is then, I guess. So, guys, thank you so much for being a part. Brant, Dan, starting with Brant, anything you'd like to talk about going into? I know, Brant, we'll be on next. Oh, I won't, because next Tuesday is the finales, but you'll be on Frontline next Tuesday. So, is there anything from now till next Tuesday that you'd like to promote?
Yeah, today, or tonight actually, right before the show went live, the next episode of the Airship 27 podcast went up. It's not on comic related yet because we're having an issue with the site, but it is on zone4podcast.com, and it should be on iTunes by now, so everybody can check it out. Braun talks about a Kickstarter for an RPG that he's involved with, and various other things on that. And beyond that, There's this graphic novel that I edited for this company, G Comics. It's GEEcomics.com. Go check that out. They're debuting the first chapter at San Diego Comic-Con. Really great art. This guy wrote it. It was inspired by his relationship with his son. So the superheroes are kind of based on him and his son. So it's kind of cool that way. And like I said, the art is fantastic. So please go check that out. Beyond that, yeah, just tune in for the live show. We'll be talking about the season finales of Arrow, The Flash, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Dan, anything you'd like to promote from now until next Friday?
Well, yeah, I already mentioned the stuff coming from Argo Comics. I will be exhibiting at Eternal Con in Long Island next month. So I've opened up my sketch list for anyone who's looking to order a commission for that show. Basically, you can contact me through my own YouTube channel, Argo Comics, ARGO Comics, or you can contact me through the Argo Comics Facebook page. So, basically, I'll be doing mostly just black and white commissions for that show. Anyone who wants to contact me, depending on what they're looking for, I can give them a price. I do have Copic markers. I'm not sure if I'll have enough time to do a color piece, but again, people can contact me and I can figure that out.
And I could vouch for Dan because I have 2 pictures on my Facebook already that Dan did. He did one for my character and he did one for Mike's character. And they're excellent pictures, and I'm definitely going to be putting them if I have a pinup section in the first issue of my book as well. So Dan does excellent art. I would definitely recommend, if you want a commission, if you'd like some really great art, definitely check out Dan's Facebook page. Anything else, Dan?
No, that'll do it.
All right, and I guess my news is, obviously I won't be on Frontline Live this Tuesday. Last Tuesday I was subbing. This Tuesday that just came, and I couldn't. I was out cold 15 minutes before the live. No, maybe longer, earlier than that. But I was out cold before the live show even started. Let's put it that way. And I was out the whole night. I didn't even wake. I thought I was going to wake up at like 12:01, and that didn't happen. And that's why the Big 2 review was so late. But this coming Tuesday I won't be on because they're going to be talking about the finales. They're going to be doing a lot of the season finale work. As you guys know, I'm, once again, far behind when it comes to TV and movies right now. So I'm going to be sitting out next Tuesday's show. But I'll be back in 2 Tuesdays on Frontline. From me, we'll have the haul tomorrow when we get the books, where I'll have the indie review as always. It'll be up on either Monday morning or Sunday morning. And Big 2 will be Tuesday or Wednesday, or maybe I'll do a doubleheader and we'll have them both up on Monday. Fingers crossed. Depends on the books and how much we can read at once. Yeah, I think that's about all for now. We love you guys. You guys are amazing. Each and every live show, this show is definitely building back up to the way it was when it first started. This is the live show that started it all, and it still proves to be one of the my favorite live shows to do each and every week, where even though I do 2 live shows every week, so I mean, it's hard to have a favorite when both of them are my favorite, but besides the point, it's great to see that Dark Avenger Live is still pulling very strong, and I'm glad you guys are loving it. I love the comments. I hope you guys like the books that we give away each and every week, so you have something to come away from the show with and from. And until next week, guys, take care, keep reading, keep collecting. Like I said, we love you guys. Hopefully we'll have a huge comment next week if we have live. If not, whenever the next Dark Avenger Live is. This was an amazing show. I loved it. Brant, thank you so much for being on. It's always a pleasure having you on. Dan, I love having you on too. It's always a pleasure as well. Love having you guys on the live shows. And until next time, everybody, good night. And have a pleasant tomorrow, even though it officially is 12 o'clock my time, so we're already in Saturday. So, good night, everybody.
Take care.